Rough Magic, starring Donald Von Griffin, Karen Torres, Leslie Danneberger, Lloyd Montgomery, and me, the GM, Brandon Blackmore. The lovely tones you're hearing are from the Postmodern Jukebox people, Gangsta's Paradise.
That's what that is. Okay.
That is what that is.
Well, we are in a gangster's paradise. We are in a gangster's paradise. Yes, we are.
I do like the Postmodern Jukebox people. They do fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Actually, before I started the Rough Magic game with you guys, the Postmodern Jukebox, several of their versions of different songs, I was like, man, if I ever run that game, that's going to be the soundtrack. That song. And then, or some other song, whatever, from time to time. I mean, they're not all great, but once in a while, there'd be one that I would be like, yeah, it's awesome. There's a Postmodern Jukebox version of some Guns N' Roses song. John, I'm blank on which one it was. But anyway, it's done like New Orleans blues, and I was like, man, that's just awesome. Anyway, this week is brought to you by Kraken Rum.
Ooh.
Unleash the Kraken. Still hoping to get some kind of what do you call it when a big company sponsorship? There you go.
Thank you very much. We have trouble enough with the baddies we do have. I think
I think the view count of those YouTube videos will need to get into at least the double digits before I can seriously consider getting sponsorship. So someday. All right.
Are you telling me we actually broke into the single digits?
Well, I myself am responsible for like 4 views on each of them. So because I'll look at it and I'll update the description and whatnot. All right. So last week on Rough Magic, refresh my memory. What happened?
Bad guys, more bad guys.
Yeah.
Is last week when the McGrebby came in and a couple of them got torn limb from limb, or was that week before?
I know there was a.
That was last week.
Yeah,
That was last week? Oh, all right. Well, then I remember some of the stuff that happened then. Okay, so, Dr. Barth. No, I'm sorry, Dr. Fanu. Dr. Fanu, who you met at the Vagrant Hospital, the charity hospital. One of her assistants came by and reported somebody had been taken out in the middle of the night, when usually there's only like a couple of orderlies on staff just to keep an eye on things. And she just happened to be working late and heard noises and saw somebody being taken out. And she wrote down a license plate number. Didn't know who to give it to, came and gave it to Carol. And then you guys tracked that down through Johnny Diamond's connections with the police and found out it was in the, I think, Crozon part of town. And it was a McGrebby front business. And the police raided it, and they found dead bodies, and they found evidence, and they found all kinds of fun stuff, and took people away, and hooray, we've solved the crime. Well, you guys were not satisfied with that, so you broke into the police scene, flagrantly violating the sawhorses that said, police line, do not cross.
Yes.
Just walked on by, like they weren't even there. Went in, did your magic bit, rewound time.
No, I take exception to that. I took a little pride in walking on by.
Exactly. We did it with our noses in the air. We thumbed our noses. After.
Some panache.
A little extra panache, yes.
And saw enough to conclude that the people they'd arrested were not the people who had actually committed the crimes at that location. And the crimes at that location only went back at most like a day or so. So, yeah.
Apparently our criminals change their locations every once in a while and frame people.
I think, yeah, that was the conclusion that you came to, that somebody had framed these McGrebby gangsters for the vampire murders. And then later on, those same McGrebby gangsters who had, you believe, been framed, came to confront Johnny Diamond, because he's the one who put in the tip with the police. Confront him about setting them up for these murders, pulled guns, got very
And woke up a demon.
aggressive. Yeah, and then the demon mask that Monsieur Thomas had given you as credit, as a thanks for a previous task you did for him. The demon came out of it and ripped a couple of them into
It enjoyed itself.
15 to 18 pieces.
Created a couple little itty bitty quivering gangster bits.
It made a mess.
Yeah.
And then when things quieted down and there wasn't anyone else to attack, he went back in the mask. Because that's how its contract works. It's a contractor. It doesn't get days off, but it can quit anytime it wants. It is a right-to-work mask. So...
And then the head of one of the other families showed up to ask us what was going on.
Oh, yeah! The guy from the Pied Noir. Completely forgot about that. Thank you.
Yep.
Jean-Jacques Vercher, local milieu boss from the Pied Noir. They are the number 2. Like, of the various factions, there's the Parain, which are number 1. They probably got 55% of the action in Cameray-Sumer. And then you've got the Pied Noir, which are probably like another 30%. And then below that, you got the Maghreby, and then at the fringes, you've got the Travelers, the Gitans. So, who are not as organized. They're kind of like the Fremen of the Mafia. It's like nobody really knows how many there are, because they move around, and they're very decentralized. So, nobody knows how many
They're
Gitans there are.
probably the center of the whole thing.
They would be the unorganized aspect of organized crime.
Yeah.
That would be.
Are the actual brains behind the operation.
If you saw,
they're more like they're more like the gypsies in England in the late 1800s.
something like that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, they're French. I mean, they speak French and everything, just like everybody else. Although they have
they've been here for a dozen generations.
Yeah.
They're just still not from here.
Anyway, Jean-Jacques Vercher came by himself. I mean, he had people outside. He had like a dozen guys outside. But he came in on his own. He just wanted to say hello, introduce himself, and see if he wanted to talk. And as I recall,
Johnny did.
As I recall, it went okay.
Yep. Yeah, no, you pretty much filled him into the incoming mafia war that's about to start. Because all the families are, setting up other families.
Sorry, Grace.
So Johnny figures this is about to get interesting.
Yeah, and
I forget exactly what we talked about, but I think that was the general.
I think the gist of it was he just wanted to see what you had to say, and you had plenty to say, and he was like, "Well, I'm glad we had this talk. You have a good afternoon," and that was basically it, as I recall. Yeah. Like, I don't think he asked you for anything, and I don't think you asked him for anything.
No, but we definitely made a suitable contact on both sides.
Just stay contact. Yeah.
I think there were offers on both sides of, give me a call if.
Oh, that is one thing he asked you, is that if you found out that one of the people in his organization were implicated in something, that you please let him know first. Yes. So that he could look into it. And if it turned out that they were actually, I do remember this part, if it turned out they were actually involved in the whole vampire murders or anything else like that, that he'd be perfectly happy cutting them loose and throwing them to the dogs.
And I think I mentioned that if anyone in his organization was going to assassinate me, please do the same thing. Let me know first, because it's really getting tiresome.
And it's hell on the carpets.
and the coats. Do you know how many coats my tailor has had to make?
So basically, you informally agreed to sort of a non-aggression pact kind of a thing. Yeah. So informally, So there was that.
I did also. I remember showing him who the people that were involved in actually setting them up too.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
So he can identify them, visually at least.
And he
Yeah.
did recognize a couple more than
Well,
John.
I think he just recognized one though, but it's
Yeah.
just as some like random thug that he thinks last time he heard he was associated with the Parain, but at that level,
And since Montan has been threatening us, that's probably a fair assumption.
probably a fair assumption.
And I
But
think
at that
we
street
discussed-
level, it's basically just whoever's paying you. So
And I think
Yeah.
although it was discussed as to whether or not we wanted to go after the Parain, somebody remembered that the Parain gangsters involved had one of these masks too.
Carol,
Yeah.
Carol actually saw a very similar African mask in the entryway of Alexander Montan's mansion.
So be
There's
sure to
nothing-
assassinate him at the office.
Yeah, well, he might have one at the office too.
Or invite him to the club.
Yeah, you could do that.
Kill him in the back room. Serve him as hors d'oeuvres.
Okay, anything else?
That's all I remember.
Oh, I was pre-setting up some spells too.
Oh,
Right.
you're figuring out if you could cast something and have it like still be running while you cast something else, because normally you can only essentially concentrate on one spell at a time.
I think you.
Right. So you're looking for a capacitor.
And what I said was, if you cast a spell and spin it so that it will just keep running on its own without your maintaining it,
Yeah,
you can
duration.
do that. It's just more difficult. So
Oh, I was thinking when he said that last week. I was thinking he was wondering if he could like make an amulet that acted as a magical capacitor.
oh well, you
that
know
would
you
keep
can
the
do that.
spell running.
Well, you
So
know
let
you
him
can
throw
make
us something.
items, but making items costs experience points,
Okay.
and those don't count against what you've cast. You make them, and they're on their own at that point. They are
Yeah.
self-contained.
But if
Essentially, you're
what
putting a
the-
little
if
piece
what-
of yourself
if
into
you-
it.
If what you make is something that can hold spells actively.
I think that'd be cheating.
Well, I do something like that all the time when I create youth spells and good luck charms and stuff like that.
Well, I
Right,
kind of
right.
just,
But, you know,
kind of
like a
just,
spell, like a spell with 2 gems, and you can cast like a personal shield implanted on 1 gem,
Oh, an
cast a
infinity
tracking
gauntlet.
spell, plant it on the other gem, and then be able to cast a 3rd spell while those 2 stay running.
Infinity gauntlet.
Yeah, that's what the designer of the system goes. I think that's cheating.
well, as far as the love potions and the youth potions and stuff like that, because that really only affects NPCs.
I assume they've got a duration in addition to being disposable.
Yeah, I kind of just shrug that off as being like stuff that happens out of combat.
Right.
Because it doesn't directly benefit you, and it doesn't directly hurt anybody else. It's just fluff. So as far as the youth potions and stuff, I just kind of like put that under fluff. It's over here. It makes the game fun. It doesn't really affect anything. So
Well,
I just let that go.
one of my gifts is cantrips, so we can assume that's
There you go.
a cantrip instead of a real spell.
There you go. Just kind of
Well, I'm
finish
glad
that.
I figured out a way to break the magic system for you.
Break it. You suggested something, and I'll consider it. Okay.
I honestly do think it might break the magic system, though.
I don't think it's a direction I want to go. How about that?
Yeah, because as soon as somebody has like half a dozen experience to drop on something like that,
That'll be pretty tough.
yeah. But now you're Now you're running like 3-4 spells at a shot, and
Which is something I
might
kind of
break the
wanted to
magic
avoid.
system.
Because
That might
it
break
wouldn't
the
take
magic
very
system.
many spells concurrently running for somebody to be just grotesquely powerful. Now,
Yeah.
you can get around that. This is why some magicians operate in groups, covens. On the downside, there's a certain personality type that tends to become magicians, and those personality types don't tend to operate in groups for very long.
Yeah, they're not going to be minions.
Nobody wants to be a minion.
Yeah,
Nobody wants minions. Nobody wants to be the minion.
It's
So-
like, how many times would you have to take the minions gift before they're all mages? You know? A lot.
Okay, so here we are. We'll say I don't know. Let's have like a couple of days pass. Is that all right? It's Friday. Yay, Friday.
Yeah, we were having Doc Celadon send a message to Tomas about where we're finding ourselves with these families. Weren't we?
Yes, I did want to let Thomas know that basically we're getting embroiled in family business again.
Okay.
But I think that was right before the thing with the mask, so we didn't get to say thank you for the mask. It
Okay.
has come in useful.
Well, then we'll stick with that day. Then we'll stick with that day. It's let's say Wednesday. So,
Well, we can make it next day, and Tomas doesn't get back to him till the next day.
he's not
That's
particularly
entirely-
prompt when it comes to that sort of thing. So that's
Yeah,
totally
so
reasonable.
That's reasonable.
All right, so you clean up the next day. By the time you open it the next day, everything's open. You have a whole bunch of reporters that show up to your door. Men with hats that have press on little pieces of paper tucked into the headband. Women with berets and little blazers and notebooks who are asking you questions. And they all want to know what happened yesterday. What was going on? Who was here? What happened? Who? Anyway, how do you field those, Johnny?
I start by taking I start by taking Arling aside for a moment and tell her to pick up a special drink, a drink special for the press.
The
That's
newsie.
That is only marked up by 20% over regular price. And we'll see how many we can steer to the bar.
Make a manipulation roll. I will roll against you. You can add a die because you're using the bar to your advantage. Because you paid points for that, so you may as well. Where's my rolly dice thing? Huh. I must have closed that tab. Let me go find it again.
You're very warm, Gracie.
Okay. Actually, that's not too bad. I rolled an 18.
3 dice plus your manipulation?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see what I get.
A 3, a 4, and a 5 plus my 6.
I'm waiting for my thing. Load. You load. Come on. What is taking so long?
Loading. Keep them files loading. Right.
It's almost enough to make me want to go get actual dice.
Use Brock Jones.
What is taking so long?
Try Brock Jones.
Who the hell is Brock Jones, and why would I want to try them?
BrockJones.com/dice roller. It's what I use.
I
you
wrote
can, like-
a dice roller specific. Oh, okay, it loaded. I don't know, it's an internet thing. Okay, here we go. Rolling against you. Okay. 18.
Yeah.
Let's see. You're rolling against a number of people, so we'll say difficulty 6. That's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, you nail them all. You get them all. The holdouts, the ones who resisted, are at the bar drinking coffee. But everybody's at the bar.
And that's that problem solved.
Arlene is regaling them with a story of what happened. We can assume that in the past 12 hours or so, you and she have had a brief chat about what you want known and what you don't want known. And she is telling them the story of what you want known.
Mm-hmm.
and like at some point she'll like stop and she'll look around to see where you are, and she'll see you like other side of the room, and she'll like conspiratorially whisper something to them that you want known. So it's entirely an act. So scribble, 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 scribble. No, it won't go beyond us. Off the record. Scribble, 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 scribble. So there you go. Evening passes, everything's fine. Child Roland plays, people like it, people dance, people drink, people eat dinner. Doc Celadon's side business gets very occasional customers, but it's a steady stream of income for him, so yay. And then at some point, Carol comes in, she's looking through papers she's brought home from work, looking over pictures of, known occult suspects, people of occult interest, to see if she can track down stuff. It all seems to have gone pretty smoothly. Then eventually the bands are done. Start turning on the lights. People filter out. It's the end of the evening. It's not officially closing time yet, but it's like 5 minutes till. People are trailing out. The wait staff are putting chairs on tables and so forth. The last people are picking out their tabs. And right around that time, all the lights dim. It doesn't go completely black, but it's overtly unnatural. And then, dunk, there's a spotlight. And at a table in the middle, there's a mummy in a white linen suit.
This guy knows how to make an entrance. I'm jealous. I really am.
Bravo, my friend. Can you teach me the trick by any chance?
I could, but I suspect the price would be higher than you would be willing to pay.
I knew he was going to say that.
Well, then you have my admiration.
Thank you. So, I understood you had something pressing to discuss.
Yes, we do. And I will pretty much lay it out for him that, we've been called upon by various and sundry agencies to investigate the vampire murders.
Or blow off and not investigate the vampire murder.
That comes later, yeah. And we've been investigating the vampire murders, and unfortunately what we've been finding out is that the murders seem to be somehow related to the various crime families in Camaret-sur-Mer. To the point where one of us has been essentially overtly threatened by the heads of one of the organized crime families in Camaret-sur-Mer to get off this case.
And the group of us were... my good man, the mask came in handy. Thank you for the gift.
And pretty much outline what happened last night.
Oh. So it has been active then?
The ones. What was it, half a dozen victims, I think?
No, just two.
Oh, two.
Silly person.
The other ones away.
Yes, just the ones, 2 victims.
Oh, that should be safe then.
Do you tell him who? Do you tell him Alexander Montan threatened you, or that the Parain specifically threatened you?
Yeah, I'll drop names.
Parain, right?
Yeah.
I'll drop names.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
Montan seems to be behind this.
Or at least certainly doesn't want us to be any further involved in it.
Oh.
Well, that is unfortunate. I have an existing relationship with the Parain, and due to oaths given, I cannot interfere. So, I must ask that you cease to investigate this matter on my behalf.
We would be glad not to do any investigation on your behalf.
I'm glad that we understand each other.
Any
So-
investigation we will do will be done on the behalf of others.
That is certainly
assure you.
no concern of mine. Well, I suppose this concludes our business. I
Always a pleasure.
shall not expect to hear from you again until such matters are no longer relevant.
Yes. But do be ready in case there is a power vacuum.
I have no interest in managing the day-to-day affairs of the Parain. I'm quite satisfied with the small area of concern that is mine. Imports and exports mainly. So, I wish you a good evening. And then the lights turn black, and then they turn back on again, and he's gone. Poof.
Okay, so he's not going to be any help.
Yeah, he
I
made that
wasn't
pretty clear.
expecting- I just wanted to make sure that he wasn't going to be a hindrance later on,
Yeah.
because it makes us look good that we came to him to let him know what was going on. At least that's my theory, anyway.
That seems plausible.
Oh, I will get in touch with my client.
Oh, how do you do that?
She gave me her contact information. I know where she lives.
You know where she lives? Actually, you know where she works. She works at the university. She's a teacher. She
Oh, okay.
teaches a night course in, I think, Spanish.
All right.
She's a she's a Spanish teacher at a night class at a university. Yeah. Because what else? Doesn't that just scream vampire to you?
Yeah.
Night class goes.
I was reading one of Charles Strauss's Laundry Files stories, and it deals specifically with vampires in that particular world. And yeah, the two main vampires in London were the head of a merchant banking organization and like a night archivist at the laundry itself, which is the occult secret service organization in London.
I haven't read any. I've heard of them, but I haven't read them.
They're really good. They started out basically as the first couple are like really tongue in cheek, but it gets more and more serious as it goes along. The last one that I've read, which is like the seventh one, it's pretty Lovecraftian. I mean, it's got some funny stuff in it, and by the end of it, basically Nyarlathotep is becoming of England.
No, they're
But,
different from that one because
But they're all really good. I enjoy them.
and Jay's going someplace up in Ohio for funeral.
Apparently, Jay's in Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get a hold of my client just to give her what's going on.
She said, okay. She said, they need to help you. That goes
Can I
in.
mute that?
Well,
Let me see.
guys
No, I don't.
gonna probably hopefully tomorrow.
Oh, I heard a distressing rumor, but have not been able to confirm.
Hey, Leslie.
It's
Leslie!
That's for her. She's not going to hear.
Oh, we can hear her, but she can't hear us. That's
Yeah, pretty much. So I heard a really distressing rumor, but have not been able to confirm.
Oh, which one?
ahead.
The rumor that in 10 months, when they sunset Google Plus, that Hangouts is going with it.
I'm figuring we'll cover the rest of the year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Hopefully,
We'll switch to
I have,
Skype or
I
something.
have
It's,
heard one report, and I haven't been able to confirm it. So it might just be somebody blowing smoke, but
we have at
just
least
in-
10
in-
months
in
to figure it
10
out.
months down the road, but it's newsworthy.
Who knows? This game hasn't even been going on 10 months. So, or
Yeah,
actually, I think it actually has now. Like right around now, it's been 10 months. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll figure it out when it happens. Life will go on. Leslie,
Yeah.
Jesus.
But I'll work on starting to save the
No, I
money
think she's
for-
talking to her roommate rather than Jesus.
So,
Okay, I'm
The
pausing.
anointed one would
And now we are recording again. Leslie's back. Yay! So I've forgotten where. Monsieur Thomas has left,
has left us.
and you can talk among yourselves for a moment. and then we'll fast forward like the next day.
Yeah, like I said, I'll get in touch with my
Oh,
client.
you're gonna get in touch with your client like now, which is like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning.
Prime time for her.
I was going to say she's probably a night person.
You think?
Well, her night class actually ends, and I presume you being the due diligence person that you are, her night class that she teaches actually ends at 1. So
Okay.
you'd find her at her apartment. So you go to her apartment.
Yes.
Okay, it's in a row house, like a brownstone, and it's not in the best part of town, but it's not like shootouts all the time. It's just kind of run down. No elevator. You got to like walk up like 3 flights of stairs, and you knock on the door, and there's actually make like a some kind of knowing what's going on roll. What do I call that?
Investigation?
Perception. No,
Perception?
perception. Reason plus perception.
13.
Let me see what I roll. Ooh. Okay, but we do have 2, 5, 7. Oh, you hear movement of multiple people on the other side of the door, and then the door opens, and it's what's her name? I've forgotten her name. Hang on, I'll go back and find it. Dominique. Dominique answers the door, and she's like, "Oh, Doctor
Good
Sullivan."
evening. Yes.
She just gives you like a blank look, like she wasn't expecting to see you, and she has no idea why you're here, which is true.
I came by to give you a progress report. If you're busy, we can make an appointment for another time.
Oh. She like freezes for probably like the count of 5. And then she's, "Come in." And she opens the door and lets you in. Not sure what's going on there, but whatever. And closes the door. It is a modest, small, like 2-room apartment. And there's a radio, there's a couch, there's a chair. She says, "Please sit down. Do you want anything to
No,
drink?"
I'm fine. As I said, this is just a due diligence call. I was just coming by to tell you what the latest news is concerning your case.
Oh, well. She sits down in the chair and she gestures to the couch to you.
And there's nobody else in this apartment.
Are you asking her or are you asking me?
I'm asking the game master. I'm looking around.
You don't see anyone.
Overtly. Okay. All right, cool. So yeah, I'll let her know what's been happening as far as the vampire murders are concerned. I'm pretty sure the police no longer think vampires are doing it.
She breathes a sigh of relief. It is literally a sigh of relief. She goes, "Okay, well, I guess you've done everything that we asked you to do, so do you want to be paid now?"
I'll send you a bill for my services, but it shouldn't be anything more than what you were expecting.
Okay. Well, thank you. You've been very helpful. Thank you.
It's good, nice to be appreciated. And I'll stand up and shake her hand and make a break for the door.
Well, nobody jumps you.
Okay, good.
She walks to the door and she seems like more surprised than anything. Like her general demeanor, the main vibe you're getting is pleasant surprise. So, thank you, she says again as you go. And if it's not awkward, if me or my friends had similar problems in the future, would you be willing to take us as clients again?
I don't see why not.
She's pleasantly surprised. Okay. Thank you. Have a good night, Doctor.
And you.
And she closes the door behind you. And you're scurrying.
Like people scurrying or animals?
People scurrying.
How odd.
You think she might have roommates.
Invisible. Okay. Vampires are generally thought to be monsters in the Empire. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe that would explain their surprise at my reaction. It's all right. Some of my favorite
Well,
people.
they do drink human blood. And they do sometimes kill people. And they are very scary looking if you see them in a mirror.
It's true.
And probably not all of them are as nice as Dominique.
Probably not. But I try to take people on as is, case by case basis rather than judging as group.
Because she apparently goes to some effort to exist in the mortal world as a person. I mean, you don't imagine many vampires as Spanish teachers, so...
No, probably not.
No. Anyway, maybe I'll deal with that in a future plotline.
Why does that sound like an MST3K movie?
Which part?
The Vampire Community College.
Spanish teacher at a community college.
Specifically, the Spanish teacher actually is what made me think it ought to be an MST3K.
All right. So it's like 4 a.m. You're gonna send her a bill, probably for like, I don't know, 60 francs, something like that.
However much it cost for however many days it cost. Yeah.
We'll say 60. That sounds good. Like 10 francs a day. That, for some reason, that rings a bell. So I think that's pretty much what you talked about. Which is not nothing, but it's not exorbitant.
Right.
So.
All right, and then I'll go home.
Yay! Okay, day or so passes. Nothing. Let's see. Nobody kicks in anybody's door, guns a-blazing, in the next 12 hours or so. So it's mid-afternoon on Thursday. What are you guys up to?
Well, sooner or later, if the parade keep framing the McGrabby, sooner or later there's going to be a gang war.
Let's see. Around 5, Detective Inspector...
Who was the...
Detective Inspector Seagal comes in the bar around 5. Oh, I'm going to show you this again. I don't know if everybody's seen this yet, but I was actually pretty pleased with this, so I'm going to share it with you again. Dominique, the vampire.
Oh yeah, the changing one.
Creepy.
Yeah, the mortal, the other, in the mirror thing.
Yeah, I got a kick out of it. Anyway, so what you're saying, Donald?
I'm trying to remember who our McGrabby contact was.
You don't really have one? You got the guy who is, like... petrified with fear because his psychopathic number 2 and one of his just random thugs, but mainly his psychopathic gun-toting number 2 was torn into a dozen pieces in front of him. That kind of put a damper on his mood.
Have you collected a picture of this mask yet? Maybe I'd like to see it.
Oh, this is the guy. This is the McGrabby who... And actually, I've got his name here somewhere. Let me see. He's got like a vaguely...
Middle Eastern, as I recall.
Middle Eastern name, yeah. What was it?
Renwan
Faid.
I.e., that's it.
Okay.
Redouane? Redoine. It's a French first name, and it's like a Middle Eastern last name. Redouane Faid.
Johnny, I don't think he's going to qualify as a suitable contact, really.
No, I want like Kamel Reese right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's the guy who came in, threatened you with bodily harm, and left begging your forgiveness.
Yeah. No, I want to talk to his boss.
There's a very good chance he never wants to see you again. So
I would not be surprised.
No,
and then there's the actual head of the McGrabby in Cameray-Samir. Actually, the head of the McGrabby in the entire northeast of France. But his home is actually in Cameray-Samir. So he's actually got some horsepower in the McGrabby. Is Kamel Reese, and that's this fella.
Yeah, that's the dude.
Yeah, you guys don't know him. Doc Celadon knows him, and Doc Celadon owes him a favor. That is the last exchange between Kamal Reese and Doc Celadon. Was Doc Celadon shot this fella's nephew in the head, and you can't just let that go. So you owe us, and you are on the hook for that. And we are not simply letting you go because we can't allow that. But
Would
you
partial
owe us.
payment on that debt be informing them who set up their guys to take the fall for the vampire murders?
You can have a conversation about that if you like.
Have there been any more vampire murders, or we pretty much messed things up too much?
Not since the ones that the police found in the construction supply offices of the McGrebby, which was 3 days ago. Not since then, that you know of.
Right.
Johnny, can you put your ear to the ground and find out what's going on with the families?
What's the word on the street, Johnny?
Yeah, I think I'd better.
Yeah, it's been 3 days and nothing's blown up, so
There have been no gunfights in the street,
yeah.
so that's good, right?
Okay.
Okay, so yes, I lay down what's going on especially between the Perrine and the McGrebby.
Okay. This sort of thing is not instantaneous. You've got to put the word out. People talk to other people. Word gets around. You hear things. So we're going to say, okay, so that was Wednesday, early Thursday when Doc Celadon talked to Dominique. So we're going to say Friday. You've been putting the word out for a while. Friday afternoon. You've heard back from a few people. The gist of it is this. The Catan...
I do fill in Detective Inspector Seagal that it is the Perrine trying to frame the McGrebby for this, according to my information,
Oh,
and lay out my logic, just so that he knows the score.
you leave a message for him. He's like super, super busy. But at some point, the next time you leave a message for him, like the second or third time you leave a message, he has left a message for you the next time you call. Says, he's sorry he's been so busy. Please stop calling his office. He will come and he will talk to you in person because these matters need to be discussed in person.
Agreed. Okay.
Yeah, so there's that. So around mid-Friday, early afternoon Friday, the word that you're getting trickling in from various sources is, okay, so the Millau is basically four families. The Perrine, in order from top to bottom, Perrine, Pied Noir, McGrebby, Gatan. So Gatan, as far as you know, they're the outsiders.
Yeah, they're not.
Nothing has really changed involving them. Nobody's targeting them. As far as you know, they're not targeting anybody else. As far as you know, their activities are basically what they always are. Grift. Running cons. Small-time stuff on the fringes of society. That's basically dogfighting, cockfighting. That kind of stuff is Gatan level stuff. Don't know how many there are. They're not very organized until you attack them. Because if you attack one, 50 of them will show up to get revenge. So you don't fuck with the Gatan. Other than that...
Because they're all family.
Because they're all family. They may fight among themselves, but if you attack one, you attack them all. So that's the only reason why they were like involved in that, because if something is a Gatan operation, you leave it alone. Because that's how that works. You leave them alone, they leave you alone.
It's not worth the effort that you have to put into it to take over their business.
It's really not. It's really not. And so up from that, you got the McGrebby, which are smaller time, old-fashioned, not into like big business import-export stuff. Mainly it's local corruption, trash pickup, construction, it's that kind of stuff. Okay, so the McGrebby are not ready to attack the Perrine, who they blame now for setting them up. But there's clearly friction going on, and you don't think it would take much for that to explode into actual violence. Like,
Right.
if something happens to the McGrebby specifically, even if the Prain aren't the ones at fault for it, that's what's going to happen. They're just going to start shooting at people. Pied Noir laying very, 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 very low. Very low. Very low. To the point where Pied Noir organizations that like were involved in this or were planning this, or you heard that they were going to make a move on this neighborhood or whatever. No, all that stuff is back burner. Shh, turn the heat down. We're just going to be cool. See what happens. Because so far, they're not involved in any of this shit, and they don't want to be.
Probably a good idea.
Okay, well.
Parain, nothing is wrong. Business as usual. Don't know what these McGrebby crazy bastards are talking about. If they start something, we'll finish it. But as far as we're concerned, nothing's happening any different from any other day. Business as usual.
Right, and our contacts are not contacting. So,
Well, the subtext of that is that, we're going to start shooting people. If somebody makes trouble, we're going to start. We are. The subtext on the Parain is that on the front, business as usual, everything's fine. Behind the scenes, there is a gun under the table. So you can have lunch, or I can shoot you. Which would you prefer? So.
Okay, so we kind of have two choices here. Guys, we can lay low until everything blows over. Or we can start a gang war in Camaret-sur-Mer.
I must admit that the first thing that came to mind when I heard the information that you just passed on to me was, I wonder what McGrebby organization we can poke until the gang war starts. Yeah.
And then immediately following that thought was, but that's probably not what we want to do.
Wait. Isn't that evil?
I don't know why we need to start any gang wars. If they're going to start...
Mom, Dad, don't touch it. It's evil.
Yeah.
Don't start an interstellar war. It has no helpful use.
All of the people involved are evil themselves. So
They're not all evil. You just had a meeting with a vampire. She literally eats people.
And also, it's
quite nice.
She tries not to kill them.
do tend to involve innocents, just happen to be in the same area as somebody else. So that's
you gotta watch out for the poor people just walking down the street.
Oh, speaking of poor people walking down the street, Detective Seagal walks in.
Now that timing couldn't have been any better.
Walks in, looks around. It's a little bit early in the evening. There's not a band playing yet. It's basically just, dinner time. Comes in, looks around. He looks tired. He's probably gotten like 6 hours of sleep in the past 2 days. Walks over to the bar, hang on, this is visual. I got to do this. Anyway, sets his hat on the bar. See, I had to actually do that so you can see it. Sets his hat on the bar. He orders a brandy. Not even anything fancy. He doesn't even make a game of it to get one for free. No, he just says brandy. That shows you how tired he is. And the bartender brings him a brandy and he drinks it.
Okay, does he look around at all, or is
No.
he just drinking his brandy?
He's literally just having a brandy at the bar. He's having some me time. Some moi time.
Yes.
Although, you do kind of have to go up and talk to him because it's a game.
Yeah, well, no, I know, but it is a game. So, should we send Carol over to invite him to the table?
do it if you want. At some point, he will look around, see who's here.
Once he's let him have a moment to himself, and then walk over to him, and be like, and say,
Yeah, You wait until he's finished the first brandy and he's ordered the second one, and then you walk over to him.
Yeah.
Oh, Mademoiselle Desjardins, how are you this evening, Madame?
Good evening, Inspector. It looks like I am doing better than you tonight.
Please call me Matthew. I know that you're a friend of Johnny's, but we haven't really had much opportunity to talk and become friends. Yeah, I understand you work for the SIT?
That's correct. Yes, Matthew.
Well, I want you to know, if there's anything that the Camargue-sur-Mer Constabulary can do for you, you should feel free to contact me at any time. I think that our mutual desire for the peace and prosperity of our city I think we have a lot in common.
Agreed, and let me extend you the same offer.
Really?
Yes.
I've never heard an SIT person say that before.
Please do not make it known that I only offer this to my friends.
But of course. And clearly we both have poor taste in friends, and he raises his glass over at Johnny Diamond and smiles at him. So at least we have that in common.
I will salute you, Matthew, to the toast for choice. Agreed. Speaking of our poorly chosen friends, we were all sitting in the booth over there. If you had any interest in discussing what we talked, coming over and having a discussion.
I can think of very few things I would like less. But the invitation is so charming, how can I refuse? He stands up, he takes his newly refilled brandy with him and walks over to a table with you reprobates. And he says, he steps back, gets his hat. Says, good evening, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. No, just gentlemen.
Good evening, Detective Inspector. I assume you have figured out the problem.
Let's not talk business for a few minutes. I'm off the clock. I am officially... He looks around. Is there a clock in here? he gestures to it. I am off the clock. So today...
Oh.
For now, I am just Matthew. He sits down. puts his brandy down. Puts his hat down. It's like, so...
This is what? This is like dinner time?
It's like 5.
Yeah. Have you eaten?
I had a baguette about 8 hours ago.
Arlene, could you get a platter brought over for the table?
Okay. she goes off. He's like, Detective Skull says, a platter of what? Should I ask? Some American thing?
Oh, it's usually quite good. I wouldn't be eating here otherwise.
Well, this week has been full of surprises. I suppose my dinner will not be the biggest one of them. Are you the musician? He gestures over to the stage. You're one of
Most of the time,
you're
yes.
an entertainer of some kind, right? Yes?
Yeah, I'm the lead. I'm one of the lead singers of Child Roland.
From the poem, right?
Well, most of us are from Ireland.
Oh. No, it's not really my taste in music, but you clearly play it very well.
Thank you. We'll play whatever anybody asks us to play.
Really?
Yes. Like the other night, we were doing some jazz.
Hang on a second.
I think what you were playing the other night was some New Orleans jazz. Soft, I guess, was what you were playing as background music. Or jazz.
Johnny leans over and in his thick Quebecois says, they even do a passable La Vie en Rose.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's I don't know if you've heard of him. His name is Reinhardt. There's a musician named Reinhardt of Canet du Hot Club de France.
Have I heard of him?
Django Reinhardt. I'm sure you have. You might have met him.
Okay.
For all I know, you hung out with him back in the 30s.
Yeah, he's heard of him. He's good.
He'll mention the name of a couple of songs that they did. If you know them, I'd quite like to hear that. I rather like the
We
that
can do his
1930s
stuff.
jazz.
We can do his stuff. We're kind of, other than the Celtic stuff, we're kind of partial to the jazz. We do a little bit of the American rock stuff.
Yeah.
That's not
Jazz
as,
is generally considered an American style of music.
Oh, I know, but yeah,
Um,
I know. But yeah, we're into the jazz. We like
Cool.
the pop rock, and we like some of the classic stuff too. But we're mostly Gaelic. But we can do some of his stuff. We kind of like his stuff.
So, Johnny, what have you gotten me into?
Well,
I know. I got you into it. I asked you for help.
Same question.
Yeah, I know. Well,
So I assume you know the basics of what is going on right now.
that the official word is that the vampire murders are the work of Maghrebi sorcerers.
Who were set up by the Parain.
That is not the official word. That's what
Well,
actually
yeah.
happened, but that's not the official word. And I wouldn't mention the P word if I were you. Because your name has come up in a couple of conversations I've been a party to. And by a party, I mean I was listening, not talking.
Yes, I assume they're rather annoyed at me by now.
I heard the word bullet, and I heard the word brain. If I were you, I might
Stay in for a few months.
something like that. Perhaps take a trip to Ireland. I hear it's actually I know nothing about Ireland other than it's an island, right? Or is that the
Yeah.
one connected to Angleterre? Either way,
No, it's an island.
it's an island. Yes, island. An island sounds wonderful. I think that would be a tremendously positive,
Oh, no.
good life choice for you for about a month.
No,
You've made some people very profoundly unhappy.
I think right here would work, and if they wish to speak to me, they know where to find me.
You get that that's part of the problem, right?
They don't wish to speak. If they wish to threaten
No. They know where to find you.
If they wish to
They-
kill me, they
you-
know where to find me.
You're right here. You're very easy to find.
Yes. So thought the Maghrebi.
Is that true? That whole thing with the Maghrebi? Did you have a guardian demon here? Like somewhere here in your club? Was
Would
that
it
actually
surprise
true?
you? Would it surprise you?
A little bit.
Let's just say that those in this club are my people, and they are protected.
You know, you say the sort of thing all the time, and I've kind of just shrugged it off, but all right then. I guess I'll yeah. Cheers. Skull. Yeah.
If you ever need a safe house, Matthew, you know where to find one.
Oh my goodness. I hope it never comes to that. Because if
I
it
hope
does,
no one ever starts a bar fight in here. That could get messy.
please tell me you're joking.
I hope dearly that I am.
Wow.
You see, it's a recent acquisition, and I don't quite know the limits.
Don't have the bugs worked out of that yet, I guess. All right then. Well, so far, if the newspapers just say there was an altercation. I've heard the
Yeah.
altercation resulted in a certain amount of mess. I heard 4 people were eaten alive by some kind of monster.
It was 2, and a lot messier than that.
I don't know if that's better.
It was messy.
Well, if you say so. Well,
honestly, I'm not sure of the details myself. It was a gift.
I don't think I want to know those details. No. So,
it was a gift from a friend.
We can stop there. Just that's enough. I don't want to know who that friend is.
I don't blame you.
See? She seems reasonable. Young lady, you seem reasonable. You seem like a reasonable person. How do we get involved with these people?
I think she is the most reasonable among us.
Well, unfortunately now I must put on my police inspector hat. Not literally, I don't wear a hat indoors. I'm not a barbarian. I need you to stop leaving messages for me. Because so far, I've been able to explain it away, but if you keep calling, I think my ability to do that will be impaired. So, let this blow over and let a few weeks go by before you
can tell everyone that your bar tab is now settled and we won't be calling anymore.
I won't tell anyone anything. Just don't call me again. And as far as the thing I asked you for, please just stop. Just let it go. Just let it go. Because whoever's responsible, they're not within my grasp. Okay? I am not going to. It has become clear to me. It has become clear to me that I am not going to be able to bring the people behind this justice. It is. What is the German expression? Outside of my pay grade. So, I think the best case scenario is all of us, we simply keep our heads low, let the bullets fly overhead, and when everything comes quiet again, we can come out and we can go back to doing what we were doing, and life will go on. What do you say?
Yes.
That works for me.
I'm glad to hear it. Because frankly, if it doesn't work for you, don't tell me. I'm sorry, what?
Provided they change their targets. I am a patron of the homeless.
Johnny, you are hopeless, is what you are. So, lest I hear anything that I will regret, I will bid the rest of you good evening. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. The musician.
Leslie.
Leslie. Monsieur Leslie. Oh, like all of the...
Let me get the rest of it.
Well, you don't actually have to say... You can say your whole name, and he says your whole name back to you. So, he's like, oh, Monsieur Leslie, a pleasure to meet you. Mademoiselle Desjardins, Johnny, and the mysterious and somewhat frightening doctor. So, you, ladies and gentlemen, have a good night. And, Johnny, please don't call me for a couple of weeks. Okay? All right. Good night.
Okay, if the platter he probably ought to at least get a box meal out of it.
Oh, about that time Arlene comes back with a large paper bag on a platter. And she's like, oh, monsieur, I have your, and she names some classic chemical. It's like, what is that thing with like the poutine? It's poutine with a side of, she named something else. I don't know, scallops or something. And he's like, I don't.
Oh, they'll put the scallops right on the poutine. There's a restaurant in Montreal that has 47 items on the menu, and they are all poutine.
They all come on poutine. Great. Here. Oh,
Yeah, no,
well,
it's like
you seem like you're in a hurry, so I went ahead and put it into what we call a doggy bag, le bag de chinois, which is like actually Chinese bag. But anyway, so Xian, le bag de Xian. And he just kind of looks at her. Missy? Takes the bag, leaves with it. Like, it smells good.
Cannot let him go without food.
All right, well, that was...
None of Johnny's friends go hungry. That's the rule. Okay, well, I think that keeping a low profile and staying out of this for a few months sounds like a splendid idea. It will keep all of us more or less alive.
Well, the fact that we've kind of run out of clues makes that sort of imperative anyway. So.
Yeah, we know what's gone wrong and there's nothing we can do about it. So, cheers.
Indeed.
Okay, well, the next day, we're fast forward just a little bit. And
yes, Johnny is hanging out here for the next month.
where he can see the mask. It's like, oh.
Like inside of it the entire time. You see him in the bar.
It's like you seriously consider whether you want to go to the bathroom or not. I don't know, the bathroom's like all the way over there.
Ducks out for a shower every once in a while, but pretty much here.
Around
at like 8 o'clock in the morning, like tripping on him, like, sir, what are you doing back here?
Friday. Not 4 minutes after the place is actually officially opened.
And the staff has instructions to stop any bar fights before they can stop.
They all nod very seriously when you say that.
They saw what happened.
Yeah, one person quit after that, but everybody else is just like choosing to look on the bright side of that. Is that if anybody causes trouble, all they have to do is hide, and the trouble will end. And they think Carl might approve of this plan. So 2 in the afternoon, or 2:04 on Friday, a fellow comes in. Ooh, I actually had an idea for this. Hang on. Oh, he's not important, but...
By the way, I found that Louis Armstrong did a really nice La Vie en Rose. Sounds awesome.
If the inspector ever does come into the bar just to enjoy the bar, we'll make sure that Child Roland plays that jazz musician's music for him.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Especially for all the trouble we put him.
Yeah.
Oh. What is this fella's name? Oh, I think I've got it. Clickety clickety clack.
So pretty much the McGrebby know that they're being framed by the parade.
That is very clear.
The parade don't really care.
And the parade are up to something. We just haven't quite figured out why they're, murdering people. Just
and everybody
dumping them in the ocean.
Yeah, and everybody else is keeping a low profile.
Yeah, the gist of it is stay quiet and out of the way and let this blow over. That seems to be pretty much everybody's approach to this.
Yeah, if the Pinot Noir want any help, then they have it, but, because they're the ones I see picking up any power vacuum if it all goes horribly wrong.
Oh my gosh, I found a great picture of this guy. Awesome. Oh, that's not it. Dude, that's not what I wanted. Where'd it go? Okay, view image. Yay! Okay, 2:04 Friday. This fella walks in, except he's not quite this happy. But he walks in. He's carrying a briefcase in one hand and a clipboard with some papers on it in the other. And he's looking around, and he walks up to whoever sees close by, somebody sweeping, and they stop sweeping and point at Arlene, and he walks up to Arlene and talks to her for a second, and she looks a little perturbed, and she sees you, and she points at you, and she says, something like, go talk to him, and he walks up to Johnny, and he goes, Monsieur Diamond, are you Monsieur Diamond?
He screams, lawyer.
Oh, I'm Mr. I had a name for this. It doesn't matter what his name is. You're not gonna. He's not important. I'm Mr. from the Department of Licensing for Entertainment and Alcoholic Beverage Consumption. I don't have a good name for this department.
Thought you dealt with them already.
Licensing department.
Yes.
I'll just say licensing department.
Yes, my forms were filled 3 months
Entertainment
ago.
licensing. Well, we've had a report of a irregularity concerning your establishment. Is there somewhere we could talk?
Oh, I think the McGregor are finding a way.
I waved to the table in front of me.
Oh,
Please have a
well,
seat.
he looks around. He sets his briefcase down. He sets his clipboard down. He takes out a handkerchief. He wipes off the chair. He wipes off the table where his arms and hands will be sitting. Then he moves he wipes off the back of his clipboard and then puts it where that would go. And then he sits down. And he shakes out his handkerchief and then folds it up and puts it back in his pocket. He's like, looking at your application for licensing, Mr. Diamond, this is licensed as a establishment for entertainment, and you're licensed for live musical entertainment, food to include full meals, and alcoholic beverages, including wine and hard liquors. Does that sound right to you?
Yes, I asked about a coffee license, but they said I didn't need one.
That's noted here. You don't need that. That's included under the meals. So, well, we have had reports that you're operating an unlicensed private investigation business from this location.
Oh, no, that would assume that I was seeking recompense for helping the citizens of our city.
We
You have that completely wrong.
spoke to a couple of people who, in addition to the person who reported this, who on condition of anonymity, of course. Apparently, you were a representative of Mademoiselle Blanchard, who owns a pastry shop, and you investigated something on her behalf. For recompense. Is that not correct? Are we mistaken? Did Mademoiselle Blanchard lie about this?
I believe she did offer a gift.
Well, I completely understand how this sort of thing can happen, Mr. Diamond. Misunderstandings of this sort happen all the time. Unfortunately, we're going to have to suspend your license to keep your business open until this is resolved. As of now, we're going to ask you to cease business and close to the public until this can be resolved, which can be done very easily. Simply come down to our office and fill out the appropriate forms and have the appropriate interview, and we can get this all settled.
Oh, well then, shall we say 9 o'clock tomorrow morning?
Oh, actually, you'll have to call the office to make those arrangements. I don't make those
Arlene,
arrangements.
telephone, please. No, don't go. Keep your seat.
He stays. Arlene brings over a big-ass black Bakelite phone with a dial this big on it. Here you go.
I call his boss.
She sets a cup of tea in front of him. Okay, you call, and ring, ring, you get receptionist, and then some person, and somebody else, and then you get...
I go on up through the process of ask him who I should be asking for kind of thing, and...
Okay, you will want to make a diplomacy roll,
Okay.
and I roll against you.
Diplomacy. That's a specialty, so I get an extra die.
You would.
19.
Good God, man. You rolled well. I rolled badly. So you eventually get somebody.
I'm wondering if it's the McGrebby or the Parain that set this up.
You get Madame Victorine. Oui. Department of Licensing, Madame Victorine speaking. May I help you?
Well, this is Monsieur Diamant from Café Sur American, and one of your agents is here informing me that there is an extra form and license that I need to fill out. If you could please have those forwarded to my office, we would be pleased to get that all straightened out as quickly as possible.
I would be very happy to do this, Monsieur Diamond. Sadly, I cannot. So you must come to our office. Unfortunately, I do not have any openings in the near future. It would be something we would have to arrange another time. But to come...
when do you have an opening? Would you like to come by for dinner? It would of course be on the house, and then we can discuss perhaps your schedule and make an appointment to get this done at your office.
You are too generous, monsieur. Yes, that sounds splendid. Sadly, I would not be able to attend. So just come by at our office at your convenience, any time while we are open during business hours, ordinary business hours, and arrange for an appointment to come have an interview and fill out the appropriate papers. Oh, it looks here that you have an irregularity in your licensing having to do with operating unlicensed investigation business? Is this...
Yes.
This cannot be true.
It's a terrible misunderstanding.
I am sure that it is. So,
I do many favors for my friends, as I'm sure you do as well.
Of course. I completely understand. But you see that this is out of my hands. It is a bureaucratic matter.
Yes, and I am seeking the bureaucrat in charge of this matter. I was informed that it was you.
It is indeed. It is indeed. And were there anything that I could do, I would most certainly do it for you, monsieur. So...
Well, then we can get this settled.
I tell you what I would do. I will do this for you, monsieur. Please come down a week from Tuesday, and we will make an appointment at that time for your actual interview to review your licensing and put this all in.
Oh, I may be out of the country by then. We need it done much quicker.
Oh, I'm so sorry. There's simply no way.
Could you send an agent down to get this straightened?
Well, that would be highly irregular. No. We
well, of course it would, but the entire office would have a nice little evening, nice little afternoon meal delivered.
You are too generous, monsieur. Yes, that would be fantastic for everyone. Sadly, we cannot oblige. But so, come if a week from Tuesday does not work, perhaps 2 weeks after that? Will you be back in the country then?
Somebody's paid them a lot more than you can offer, Johnny.
I can do 2 weeks if you allow me a proxy. I'm sorry, I do not know the French term. We call them power attorney.
I don't think that's what you mean.
Proxy.
I think you're referring to like an interim license or something like that, like an extension.
Sending someone down there to get the appointment and fill out the form that is not me, but is working on behalf of.
Oh, but of course, simply tell us who would be. We would have to arrange it to make sure that they are authorized to act on your behalf. But yes, no, that is easily done.
Please let me.
It's weeks of closure. That's what they're doing. They're trying to cut business.
Oh, it is very clear to Johnny that someone is shutting you down.
Yeah.
It is very clear. This could not be more clear.
And it's not going to work because we just transitioned to a private club for the next few weeks and sell memberships. And then it's a private establishment and doesn't have to be licensed like that.
There are a whole different set of laws about that, though. You
Oh
know.
yeah. Well, which
Oh,
is
by
why I
the way,
need a power of attorney.
Brandon, nasty little things have been creeping into the briefcase of our prestigious friend, by the way.
He's just a bureaucrat doing his job, man. He's not evil.
No,
He's just doing his job.
I was debating whether to send Arlene or Carol. I was thinking I'd send Carol to deal with the bureaucrats.
But of anybody you want to send, Mr. Diamond is more than welcome to act on your behalf if you are too busy. But then again, if you are too busy, that does not look very good on your appeal process.
What? That I must run my third and fourth businesses because you're shutting down my primary? Apparently, according to the allegation.
We have no desire to shut down anyone. We simply want to ensure that you are operating within the license that you applied for. You could have applied for an investigation license, but you did not. You applied for an entertainment license, which has an entirely different set of criteria. You do understand our position.
The business was not a investigation business until
And
your
yet
office
we
made it
have...
one.
I have in front of me reports, confirmed reports that people have paid you for your services as an investigator, a criminal investigator. You know that the Empire has very strict laws concerning this sort of thing. You must be licensed, you must be registered, there are training exams, there are fees to be paid, none of which you have paid.
And it was not a business until your office made it one.
Well, from what I have here, Madame Blanchard, who owns a patisserie, paid you for services investigating the certain personal matters.
Me personally, not the business.
You did not ever conduct business out of your establishment. You never had meetings there. From what I have here, on this date, and she'll name dates. On this date and on this date, Madame Blanchard met you at your offices, at your place of business.
Can I not have friends to my personal rooms?
Friends, yes. Clients, no. It is out of my hands, Mr. Diamond.
Well,
But I'm sure that we can resolve all of this in your official interview. So if you would please come by on Tuesday and set the appointment for that interview, I'm sure we can resolve all of this and it will all be behind us and you'll be back serving drinks in no time.
Someone will be by on Tuesday.
I thought that was a cat, but it wasn't. All right, well.
Someone will be by on Tuesday.
Wonderful, wonderful. Good day, monsieur. Good day. Bye-bye. Click. Oh, yeah, they're totally shutting you down. Somebody's shutting you down.
I make the round of phone calls going, they're shutting me down. We need to deal with the bureaucrats. Who?
Is there a way we can find out who so we can make them miserable?
The main thing that they're citing is Bernadette Blanchard.
Do you want to put the word on the street? Find out who's paid off the licensing department to shut you down?
I was thinking Paul Eves and find out from the right-hand man of the source.
I think we also can use magic. We can use the, what is it, Seerage or whatever it is.
The who, what now?
Ball, as it were. That would be a faster way of doing it.
Well, you know who's doing it.
Yeah, it's just
Bernadette Blanchard works for who?
She works for the Pied Noir.
Yeah.
Pied Noir, who's the people who we're effectively at peace with.
Yeah.
Oh, they're the ones who are staying out of it.
Yeah. And so, obviously, the Parain, probably one of Montan's assistants or underlings. Yeah, I think we need to talk to Yves.
Okay. This guy is Jean-Jacques. Just because I know there's like a lot of people, right? And so I'm going to refresh your memory just a little bit. This guy is Jean-Jacques Vercher. He's Bernadette's Blanchard's boss.
Right.
Like, she reports directly
Okay.
to this guy. This guy is in charge of the Pied Noir in Camaret-sur-Mer. So he's the guy who came by, and you had a
You just
conversation
signed
with.
up a favor.
Yeah. I
No, it's not an ode of favor. It's a let the other know what's going on kind of thing.
It's basically
Yeah, I'd
we
call him
have.
first.
Go ahead.
I said I'd call him first if I were you.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, your conversation with him was essentially you have similar enemies. Let's stay in touch. That was basically the gist
Yeah.
of it.
I
Bernadette
will
answers to him.
Okay.
So
I will get in touch with him. And
I
my
think
general just
actually he left you a card.
yeah, so I will go ahead and call him.
It's like 45-pound vellum, vellum with embossed letters. It's American
You
Psycho
can read
level
it.
nice card.
Yeah, like you can read it with your eyes closed, even though it's not in braille.
Yeah. Yeah. He pays like 100 francs for a pack of 150 of them. So,
Yeah.
this card is worth more than your lunch. So, anyway, you give a call, you get a secretary, which you'd expect, and we'll say it's a guy. Why not be a little different? The guy secretary. He asks who you are. You say who you are. He says, "1 moment, please." And a few minutes later, there's like a click and a hum, which is a little unusual because we don't really have call forwarding in this time.
Right.
But
This is
there are
old-fashioned
switchboards.
Analog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It involves people like plugging actual things into things.
Yeah.
There's a click and a hum for a bit, and hello,
Hello.
this is Jean-Jacques. To whom am I speaking?
This is Johnny Diamond.
Oh, Johnny. How are you,
Yes.
monsieur?
I'm afraid I've run into a bit of trouble.
Oh,
Someone is using the name of one of your underlings in order to shut down my club. I did a few favors for Bernadette Blanchard.
let's discuss this in person. Would you like to join me for coffee?
I was going to offer the exact same thing.
Are you
Right
familiar
now, I'm not
with?
sure the streets
he-
are safe for me.
He'll name a place, not by its address, but by the style of coffee it serves. Are you familiar with the place it serves? And he'll name it's like Kona. There's a place that serves the best Kona coffee. It's right around the corner from a particular kino, a movie theater. I'll meet you there in say 45 minutes.
I'm afraid the streets may not be safe for me. Is it possible to meet at my place?
I think that would not work for me. I don't have anything against you personally, but I've heard bad things about people who visit your establishment.
Only when they threaten violence, I assure you.
I would prefer to avoid misunderstandings. Would you like to join me for coffee, or perhaps not? You did call me.
I would
Tell him yes.
greatly.
We'll
I
tell
would
the truth.
greatly, and I hope that I make it there alive.
We'll find a way.
Oh,
Well,
no problem.
if-
We'll get you there.
Can you secure the location at least before I arrive?
Life is full of the unpredictable, but I would do what I can.
I appreciate any effort that you can take.
I will take some effort, monsieur. 45 minutes. If you're
Okay.
not there in 50, I will carry on my day.
Okay, the mask is riding in the car with me.
No,
You have the weird sensation it's looking at you the whole time.
yeah, I know.
Slightly condescending
Johnny.
manner.
I don't think you really need to go that far. We'll figure out something that might be a little bit better, a little bit safer for everybody.
It's a little sidewalk cafe, some tables and awning, and
get kicked out, I'm sure.
when you get there, he's sitting there and he's got a cup of coffee. It's a tiny little cup. It's like this big.
Okay.
Anyway, he's sitting there. There are no obvious thugs around him, but if you are observant, you see like a guy over there reading a newspaper upside down, and there's a guy over there who's
Really well built figure. Yeah.
And there's a guy over there with a suspicious bulge in his coat, under his overcoat.
And,
yeah.
there's a lady pushing a stroller who's very intently looking at the men's suits behind store glass window.
So I assume there's a Tommy gun in the stroller.
I wouldn't know. I'm just saying. Anyway, so he's there.
Yeah.
He looks up as you come. He stands up as you arrive, and he gestures to a chair, and he sits back down. He's, all right. I only have about 10 minutes for this because, it's a busy time.
Yes, well, in that case, pardon me if I name names rather than beating around the bush.
I've taken effort to ensure that we have some privacy. And you look around, there's like no tables with people at them near you. There are empty tables around you, and like somebody brings you a cup of coffee and then goes back into the cafe and doesn't talk to you and doesn't hover. They're just gone. So
Right.
you appear to have as much privacy as you're going to get on a city street.
Okay. Which is pretty much all there is. Yeah. Thank you for meeting with me.
We did say we would keep each other informed, so please tell me what you have to say.
My efforts to assist Bernadette Blanchard are being used to shut down my club. As apparently it has been reported I acted as her private investigator in an unlicensed manner.
Okay.
Obviously, this is the Parade trying to get me out where they can try and assassinate me again.
You're a bit paranoid, aren't you, Miss Sir?
I thought so, yeah.
After you have been attacked by a wolf man and shot with a high-powered rifle twice in the back, you get that way.
Oh.
I've had
Wolfman, really?
I've had an eventful month.
Indeed. Well, perhaps when things aren't quite so exciting, we can have a conversation about that. As far as your current troubles with the licensing bureau, after you called earlier, I did make a few calls of my own. Apparently, the licensing bureau is, yes, using your relationship with Madame Blanchard. He calls her Madame. She's not married, but he calls her Madame, which might infer something. I don't know. They're using that as evidence to suspend your licensing. I don't think, I could be wrong, I don't think this is an attempt to have you assassinated. I think it is an attempt to pressure you to stop investigating the matters that you were most recently investigating. The matters that you
well,
discussed.
that's already done.
Well, perhaps they don't know that. I do think that the people behind it are the people that you think are behind it. I am not in a position to do anything about it. I wish that I were.
All right. Well, you had asked me to inform you if your underlings came across my path, and one of their names was mentioned, so I thought you ought to be informed.
I appreciate that, and if anything, it means that probably my organization's activities are under greater scrutiny than I realized, and I do appreciate knowing that. Other than that, I don't think there's anything I can do for you.
Well, I appreciate the meeting and all of the efforts that you undertook on my behalf today. I really don't like getting shot.
I don't think that's what this is about. I think this is about leverage, not about actually doing harm to you. As far as I know, which is not necessarily complete, there are things we know and there are things we don't know. But what I know is I don't know of anyone who actually wants to do you harm at this time.
Oh, thank goodness. The word on the street is rather different.
Is that right? What have you heard?
Well, a friend of mine a friend of mine with government contacts had heard that the Parain were looking to eliminate the problem.
Really? Interesting.
Again, it's hard to say how accurate that is. It's not like the police get the best information, is it?
We all hear slightly different things, and we see them through the lens of our own expectations. So,
yes, and after 3 assassination attempts this year, I'd really like to avoid a 4th.
Perhaps, if the problem is people are trying to kill you, perhaps the cause is something that you're doing. Perhaps you simply make too many enemies.
And here it is, all I wish to do is protect the people of Kemmeris in there. Makes you wonder what some people think of the people of this city.
I wouldn't know. Well, sadly, that is all the time I have for this meeting, unless there's something else you needed.
No, I believe that's the bulk of the information.
Thank you very much for your time and for your information. Oh, for what it's worth, I've spoken to Bernadette, Mademoiselle Blanchard. She was pleased with the work that you did. It may be some time before she contacts you again for similar work.
Understandably.
But that is not through any fault of yours. That she wanted me to convey to you that there are no recriminations that she holds toward you, that she thinks you did a fine job. Oh, and she said say hello to your doctor friend, whoever that might be.
Oh, I will definitely pass that along.
And that it was a long conversation and it's been a busy day. Oh, she has no hard feelings against your doctor, but she's chosen to take her medical needs elsewhere for reasons that he would understand. Does that make sense to you?
Perfect sense.
Well, that's one of us. All right, then. You have an excellent day, sir. And I do hope this whole licensing thing works out. I'm sure that it will. Eventually.
Thank you. And, yeah.
He stands up. He stands up.
Back under the protection of the mask and finally sigh with relief.
He puts some francs on the table. It's francs on the table to pay for the bill. By the time he puts his wallet back in his jacket, a big black car has pulled up in front of him, and he walks over to it and gets into it. Mm-hmm. And pretty much by the time you push your chair underneath the table, the car has pulled away.
Okay.
A finely tuned machine. Yes. His organization.
Okay, I head back to the cafe and hunker down.
Here's the question for you guys: Is what you are experiencing now, is this suspense or is it boredom? It's supposed to be suspense.
It's pretty suspenseful to me. I'm the one who thinks he's got a price on his head, even though that may or may not be true.
Alrighty then.
It's like waiting for the other shoe to drop here.
Mm-hmm.
When you get back to the Café Azure Americain, there's a placard taped to the door that says, "This establishment is closed until further notice. by order of the Department of Licensing.
Mm-hmm.
All of your employees are sitting, waiting for you to come back when you walk in. And Arlene's there in the middle of telling them everything's going to be okay. Y'all just... Oh, hey, Johnny. I was just letting them know everything would be all right. They might want you to say something.
Yes, unfortunately, the bureaucracy around here runs a bit slowly, and clearing up this matter might take a week or two. But I assure you, everything is fine, and we're underway. And I have filed protests with the local government departments that about all of your jobs and how they are harming the economy of the city.
Glazed eyes.
Yeah.
Sir, monsieur, will we be paid? I need to know if we will be paid.
Assuming we can figure a way around this, yes.
That's a no. That's a no, isn't it? That's a we're not going to be paid. People are like looking at each other nervously.
You may want to try
The
to
next week, you are paid.
Oh, communal sigh of relief. Okay, so we
The
have at
next-
least 1 week guaranteed
You are
pay,
paid.
even if we don't open.
Correct.
Suddenly everybody's happy. All right. Oh, yes, you had us
Now-
worried, monsieur. We were so worried. Oh, we're so happy now.
Your work may be a little different.
And now we're nervous again. What work are you talking about?
What I am looking for is for people to go through the government regulations on private clubs, private parties.
Oh, a guy raises his hand. Oh, monsieur, I used to be a bouncer at a place that was a private club. Yeah, the legality was somewhat, let us say, on the edge. But this private club, I was aware of how it operated. I think I might be helpful.
Please,
You work it out.
Work
A couple
on-
hours go by.
Yeah,
You talk to your people.
Basically, a big closed sign replacing the placard is a big closed to the public sign out front. And we do everything by the book as a private club. And
There's like velvet ropes and little brass like stand.
yeah. And it's like
Admittance. It's like a smaller sign that says admittance to members only.
only. Right.
Identification will be required. Something like that.
Yes, and everybody gets to bring in up to 4 guests, and it costs $1 to join. And everybody on the staff is to let their friends know that they need to sign up with them as a member now.
You spend the entire rest of Friday working all this stuff out.
And your first for members, their first drink's free. All the.
You basically are dictating this stuff. Darlene's over the side writing it all down, and you've got people looking people's stuff up. You got a couple people like writing up signs.
Yeah,
A couple of waitresses are like
we
painting
call it-
little calligraphy signs to hang out front. All right, so moving forward a bit.
I was going to say, if we have to, we call Carol and get her to be our bureaucrat. But it sounds like we might have this covered.
Rather than have the game be about the ups and downs of a private club, so let's put that in the back burner for a bit. So while Johnny's doing all this, the rest of you guys do anything fun?
Let's see.
I guess our band is probably trying to look for a couple more public clubs to play. I want to cause trouble for somebody.
Anybody particular?
Parade sounds good. But I want to do it in a fairy sort of way.
Well, Lloyd,
I got an idea. Like,
Okay, what
why don't you and
Lloyd?
I go back to why don't you and I go back to St. Benedict's and see what kind of what's going on there?
Sure.
That seemed to be the kind of commonality with all of the disappeared people is that they all stayed at St. Benedict's at one point or another. And that's where we got the latest tip, which turned out to be wrong.
This is true.
So let's go back there and see what kind of trouble we can get into there.
Well, I'm going to send a little, and I'm going to send a little fairy trouble towards the terrain, just for fun, magically, in a kind of backhanded little way.
All right.
I'm going to curse the fuck out of them. They're ruining my livelihood.
Okay. You call up some minor fairies and send them off to go cause trouble at what,
Yep.
Alexander Montan's house or something?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Just a little trouble.
You get like a half dozen Winterberry style fairies. Oh, remember Winterberry? She's the one who visited Johnny in prison.
Oh, Leslie, if you're going to do that, let me know. There's something I can do to help.
Okay, sure, I'm going to let you know.
All right. Yeah, I'll cast Wheel of Fortune on the fairies that are going to fuck with them.
Hang on. Okay, so just
Yay,
because
Winterberry.
I liked Winterberry as a character, so I'm gonna throw her in here.
I like
So
Winterberry a lot. She's welcome in the club.
she's actually not from the same faction of fairies that Leslie's from. She's from the opposite faction,
I don't
but
want any...
for whatever reason, she likes you guys. So she's shown up once in a while. She'll like visit
Well, there's
Johnny
no
in his
accounting
office.
for taste.
There's no accounting for taste. Well, the fairy factions are weird. They'll go for ages without actually having any animosity at all, and then once in a while they'll have a war. It's just how that is. So
The war.
don't try to
Summer
figure it out.
Court and Winter Court, although Summer Court theoretically is the good guys and Winter Court's theoretically the bad guys, fairies are fairies.
Yeah. They both like fairies better than mortals. So
And we both like to cause mischief for the mortals.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
yeah, it's
And this is
it's
a
not
case
so
of-
much good and bad as it is red and blue. The difference is completely arbitrary.
Yeah.
So you get a half a dozen fairies that are, like yay tall,
And say, go,
and you lay out what you want them to do, which is go to where Alexander Montan's house or somewhere else.
Montan, he's the one that threatened Carolyn.
He's the one who
His house or
very
his office?
Yeah. So just make
up to you.
Make him miserable. His house, his office, wherever, just make him miserable. As you possibly can.
Another weird thing about fairies is they're both chaotic and hierarchical. So like they don't follow rules, they do whatever they want to do, they're capricious in the extreme, but they're also extremely hierarchical. If a fairy higher ranked than them asks them to do something, they kind of have to.
Mm-hmm.
So you summon a half dozen of them, you tell them lay it out, and they will do like to the letter what you ask them to do, but how they do it other than that will be completely on their own, and they will do their best to twist what you said, because
Well-
that's how it works.
I'm going to actually tell him to have a little fun with the mortals, at the mortals' expense. I think they would enjoy doing that.
You get a whole lot of thumbs up on that. So, take away. Meanwhile, Doc Celadon wants apparently to take Leslie to go visit St. Benedict's.
Okay, let's go visit St. Benedict's.
Yeah, I figure if you wanna get into a bit of mischief, maybe this is the place to
Okay.
hook your nose into.
Mm-hmm.
I had a really, I think, fun name for this place. Let's see what it was. Where was it? Am I looking at the wrong page? Oh, no, there it is. The St. Benedict Community Hospital and Shelter for Vagrants. It sounds better in French. So, what time of day?
Like afternoon.
Okay.
Like high noon.
All right.
It's my intention basically to go in there, and I'm going to be the distraction, and I'm going to let Leslie do the snooping around. But I just want to go in there and see if there's been any new change, anything different, if there's anything out of the ordinary has happened, and if possible, do a like a complete magical sweep as subtly as possible throughout the building to see what if anything is going on.
All right. Well, when you get there, you're met by one of the staff members. They do not immediately recognize you. However, some other staff member, as that person's person A is like just nameless person. While that person's talking to you, somebody else who does recognizes you and walks up and says hello. And that second person is Olivia de la Barth, the person who came and told you about the abduction
from the hospital.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Who is your impression is that she's like a senior staff member. So she comes over and says, "Oh, Monsieur Doctor, I'm sorry, I've forgotten your
Celadon.
Celadon. Yes. Bonsoir. How may I help?"
Coming here to see if there have been any new developments.
She looks around and she like whispers to you. She's like, "Nothing since our conversation. I think it's all been resolved. I saw in the newspaper that the people responsible had been arrested."
Yes, that is correct.
We've seen there have been no abductions. Everything's been very quiet here. I think that unpleasant period is behind us, thanks to you and your friends, particularly Madame Desjardins.
All right.
Oh, and Leslie is Leslie there with you, like overtly, or is Leslie like sneaking?
Oh no, I prefer to have Leslie kind of hanging out as unnoticeably in the background as possible.
Oh, very. I'm going to make myself as unnoticeable as possible.
You can totally do that.
Yeah.
Unless it's like important for the plot per se. Unless you are actually in confrontation with a named character, I'm just going to say you can make yourself. You can just hide and not be visible.
Okay.
I mean, you're a fairy.
Well,
what the hell?
I'm going to look around. I mean, I'm assuming since Dr. Celadon wanted me to investigate while he distracted, I'm just going to look around. I want to see why these people were chosen, and see if I can figure out. Maybe there's nobody here they want anymore. That's what I would like to. Among the things I would like to do.
Okay.
And I would like to hear if there's anybody who still talks about it in any way.
Okay. So my understanding is Dr. Celadon is killing time while Leslie is snooping. Is that accurate?
I would recommend to Dr. Celadon that he do ask questions if there's anybody who's in the staff who's left recently.
Right, yeah.
That might be something you might want to find out.
Investigation.
Yes.
And I'll also be subtly doing checks on magic for anything in here. See if there are any magical objects, if there are any spells that have been cast on the woman I'm talking to, for example, stuff like that. Anything that might fall into the category of out of the ordinary.
All right. Well, let's start with that.
Okay.
Magic spells and other magical effects that are around you. You're rolling for subtlety, so it's 2d6 plus your thaumaturgy.
All right.
Hold on. I'll tell you what you get.
Let's see, 16.
Okay. Here on the first floor level, which is the entryway and like the front desk, and then off to one side is like the common room, and off the other side is, if I remember correctly, was offices. Nothing magical down here,
Okay.
including the staff member you're talking to. All seems pretty non-magical.
All right.
Meanwhile, Leslie is snooping. This floor, second floor, where are you snooping?
Just snooping wherever I can get to without, I'm not attracting attention. I'm just looking around. It is a place where there's records.
Would that be offices, which is this floor? All right. Snooping around the offices. Make an investigation roll.
which if I don't have...
Let me see if there's people in the offices. There are people in the offices, so make your thaumaturgy roll to make sure you can stay hidden from those people.
Mm-hmm.
2d6 plus your, I think, power. Hang on.
Power? Okay. My second dice. There it is.
Where'd I put that? Casting spells. There we go. Illusions? Yeah, illusions. Oh, reason plus power.
Power. Reason and power plus the thaumaturgy or illusions?
Yes, 2d6 plus reason plus power.
Okay. So we're talking...
You need 14. Just letting you know.
I got 15.
Oh, awesome. All right.
Yeah.
There are people, it's, crack of noon. There are people here. There are people working. Dr. Fanu is here working. Oh, I don't know if Leslie was here when I introduced Dr. Fanu, so I will introduce Dr. Fanu. She is a doctor and a nun who is in charge of the hospital. And this is Dr. Fanu.
Okay.
There you go. That's her.
Well, my snooping is not going to probably involve me opening and closing anything because I would probably attract attention in that. But I do have an interesting question to know whether or not she's truly do the fairy have trouble with holy things, holy people?
I'm going to say no.
Okay, so I wouldn't know.
Just because I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, okay.
It's not so much that fairy have a problem with holy things, is that the Gallican Catholic Church has a problem with fairies.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's the holy things that have the problem with the fairy.
Yeah, because you don't have a soul, so.
Yeah. Well, as far as my snooping is going, what I'm actually looking for is on their file cabinets, closed, open, what the categories of their filing cabinets are.
Well, I'll tell you what, make an investigation roll. That would be, since you're dealing with like manual dexterity, trying to look at things while drawers are open, that kind of thing, make a investigation roll with your agility.
What if you don't have the investigation? 1 dice?
No, it's just 2 dice, but you don't add your agility to it.
Okay. Well, I rolled a 10.
Well, let me see what you got against you. Oh, as it happens, I rolled a 10. So over the course of, say, half an hour or so, people are doing things, they're filing reports, they're looking things up, they're putting things away, they're opening drawers, they're walking away, the drawers are open, so you can flip through the drawers while the drawer is open, that kind of deal. Mm-hmm. What are you looking for?
Well, like I said, if they do keep records of closed cases, open cases, special cases, that's what I think I'm specifically looking for. People that would be considered special.
Okay. You don't find anything out of the ordinary. It just seems completely dull to you. I mean, there's when new people come to the hospital, they check them in. They take a brief medical history. Do you know of any history of asthma in your family? Do you know of any history with consumption in your family? That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Consumption is a disease, doesn't really run in families, but it's the 60s, so nobody knows that. So, So you're looking at the files, it just seems like the ordinary files of a charity hospital.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm trying to look for a reason that some people were picked. And I'm assuming that once the person's no longer there, they don't have a file, or do they have it considered closed?
You do know the names of people who you know were abducted from here.
Yeah,
you've got at least, what do you guys, was it at least 6 people now? 6 names? Yeah.
Including one that had HIV. So,
well, hepatitis. But
whatever that was, hepatitis. Yeah.
It was hepatitis.
Well, I'm going to look for a couple of the names while I've got the cabinets open.
Yeah, right. While we're here, I'll go ahead and burn my plot point just to get any information that might be useful between the two of us.
Thank you for the reminder. Everyone has 1 plot point. Doc Sullivan has 2. And you're burning one of those. So what are you doing with it?
Just to give us anything that might be here that we can find out during the course of our investigation at St. Benedict's.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be subtle, but we're going pretty much top to bottom through the place if we can.
It's funny you should put it that way. Yeah, all right. This is not like letter of the rules how it works, but you, within 30 seconds, said spin the plot point and top to bottom. So I'm going to give it to you. Top to bottom. You find out by spinning your plot point while you're subtly... Well, you're having, like, on one level, you're having, like, a completely bland conversation with a staff member and just walking around and, oh, this is Bill, he's new, or this is Madame Jacqueline, she's new, and or this is so-and-so who just had a toe removed because of frostbite or whatever. So you're, on one level, maintaining that level of concentration just to maintain the illusion, that's not the right word, the facade of having a conversation, while 90% of your brain is doing magical stuff subtly in the background, top to bottom scanning for things. At which point, with the spinning the plot point, you determine with your, and I'm not going to make you roll, that bottom does not end on this floor. There's a basement that you were not shown previously.
Right.
And, well, that's what you get. I'm done.
Okay.
Like, you were given a tour last time. I think it was last time you were here. Well, it was the first time you were here. You and Carol and Johnny came, and you guys were given the full tour, top to bottom.
Right.
There was no basement included in that tour, but when you were doing your scans, you see there are rooms beneath you. So.
Okay.
Do you have a way of magically letting me know?
Yes. Get hold of Leslie telepathically.
Yeah.
It's like, excuse me, tap, 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 inside your head. There's apparently a basement below the bottom floor. Can you check that out?
Oh, sure. Sounds interesting. Come on way.
How would you get there, Leslie?
I can do a little bit of fairy teleport, can I?
Yes, but you kind of need to know where you're going.
Okay, can you, and I'll scan Dr. I'll send Dr. Celadon a message saying, think you can show me what it looks like?
Sort of. I can at least describe it where the rooms are below us.
Okay. Just letting
Let's see.
feel his vibes.
Okay, here's what I need, because this is kind of tricky, because this whole time, Leslie's in a room with other people who are doing work, and they walk past Leslie, like, constantly. Like, walk over to here to get a cup of coffee, walk over there. Walk over here to open a... And so you're basically doing a dance invisibly. You're not technically invisible.
Yeah.
What it is you're just making it so they don't look at you.
Yeah.
It's
I might just step out of their walking motion.
Right. So you're doing that. Meanwhile, Doc Celadon is having a conversation that he's paying like 10% of his brain power on and walking around. Meanwhile, he's actually talking to you and magically figuring out the layout. So I need Doc Celadon to make a thaumaturgy roll with reason plus power, and I need Leslie to make a... What are your supernatural gifts, Leslie? I don't have it in front of me.
Let's see, healing, immortality, regeneration, shape.
Okay, so for you, this is actual magic that you're doing. So for you, it's thaumaturgy. So it's, I'll say agility plus power, because yours is more physical, staying out of people's way so they don't bump into you. So first, Doc Celadon.
18.
You needed a 15, so you're good. Leslie.
I'm 1 point less than him, 17.
You needed a 10, so you are doing fine. All right, then. Doc Celadon, you're, like, magically sonaring the basement, like where the walls are, and doing your best to describe that to Leslie. Leslie is... apparently has... There's like a word for your ability to visually picture three-dimensional spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Leslie's doing great. Leslie rolled 7 more than needed, so Yeah, Doxeldon's describing stuff, and Leslie's like completely picturing it in 3D where it is, and you're like, awesome.
There.
Spatial awareness.
Spatial awareness, yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
There. I'm there.
And you, oh, yeah, getting there will be a separate thing.
Okay.
So, here's the thing. If you, oh, actually, I was making it more difficult than it needed to be. I was thinking you'd have to make it subtle, otherwise people around you would see it. But no, all you have to do is like walk around a corner and like into a broom closet and do it from there, or just where nobody's
Yep.
standing.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so you walk around okay, never mind that. You leave that office, you go to like a little entryway or alcove and make sure nobody's looking. Yeah, okay, and whoop, and now you're downstairs. And it is a basement, and it looks very much like the floor above you because, you know, it's walls and plaster and doors and stuff. It's not a dungeon. It is, however, kind of Frankenstein looking in that there are huge vats of blood and medical tables and medical tubes and like
I'm
little
still
rolling
making
carts
myself,
full of
you don't see
needles
anything down
and
here.
scalpels and
We know where they were actually doing it then.
something like that.
Does it look like it's been entered recently?
The lights are on. There is, at this moment, somebody hanging upside down from their ankles right there with tubes attached to their throat. And it's like what's that, like stretchy beige stuff? What do you call that?
Like
Some
an ace
kind of
bandage.
bandage material.
Like an ace bandage, yes. Around their throat. And there's like big, you know, kind of peach colored plasticky sort of rubbery tubes like underneath the ace bandage. And they're hanging upside down. And there's a couple of machines going like that.
He's not conscious, I assume.
No, it's a guy. He's in his like 50s or 60s. He's old. He's like gray hair. Hanging upside down, unconscious, and his blood's being pumped into some huge, vast reservoir of blood.
Okay, I can't do anything for him now. I'm going to make myself not here just in case, and I'm going to explore.
All right, then.
Maybe I can do something for him now. Can I shut this thing off?
Yeah. It's a machine, and it's got a very
Yeah.
clearly marked off-on toggle switch. You just chunk, and it goes chunk, chunk,
And then we're
Like that.
going to not hear. Nobody's going to see me, just in case there is some.
There's nobody around you at the moment.
Yeah, but we're going to explore.
Sorry, what?
One of the ways things I want to find is how to get upstairs and how to get onto the street from here.
This takes you a little while. So, back with Doxodon, you're still roaming around with one of the staff members. Anything you're doing other than just putting up a front?
Search, or magically doing the equivalent of searching the place from top to bottom. But no, I'm not going to mention the basement. I'm going to keep this all completely normal looking for me.
Okay, let's make a diplomacy
I have diplomacy.
to fake your interaction with a person while you're actually focusing on other things. You
All right.
need a 10. It's not that hard.
13.
Awesome. Every once in a while, you actually pay attention to what the person talking to you says, and you
Right.
say something to them that tells them that you're listening, and then
Oh,
you go
yeah,
back to
yeah.
focusing on other things.
No, you don't have any of the personal effects of any of the people who disappeared then, or even their clothing, anything like that.
She's like, actually, no, we donate those to a charity that provides clothing and personal needs to the indigent.
Oh,
So,
that makes perfect sense.
do you need a list of those? Because I want to help as much as possible.
Well, if you have anything of that nature, even a list, perhaps a unique item could be found.
Oh, please follow me. And she'll take you over to the offices where just a few moments before, Leslie was snooping through their files, and she'll go through the files and she'll take out some papers, and she's like, okay, these are the charities that take our clothing and personal effects of people who have passed on, because it is a charity hospital and that does happen, sadly. So rather than have things go to waste, we want to help someone else. So we give to these charities. I will copy over for you the names and addresses of these charities, and so that you can talk to them. And if you have any trouble, you can tell them that we sent you and to talk to me or any of the staff here. And she writes out long.
I don't anticipate any.
Well, I don't either, but if you do.
That kind of blithe assurance that government agents usually have. But basically, kill time until I'm going to give Leslie about a half an hour. And then at that point, I'll just, once I've finished investigating and everything else is done, I'll just go out and wait by the car.
Okay. The entire time you're there, the vibe you get from the staff is either indifference or an active desire to help you. Okay. You don't encounter anybody who resents the people they work with, or resents the homeless, or resents you. The worst you get is somebody who's just like, That's the worst you get.
All right.
So there you go. Meanwhile, Leslie, downstairs in the basement.
Apathy? Who cares?
Yeah, so.
Leslie, down the basement. Hey, Karen. It's been ages since I've talked to you. What are you doing?
I've been trying to think of what I needed to be doing at this time, actually, this whole time. It's like,
I hate leaving you out.
I'm about to get her involved.
Oh!
Hey!
Okay.
Like,
well, I guess we'll be okay. Oh! Hello, cat! There's a vixen! There's a vixen! Hello, Susan.
And yeah, I was gonna say, and presumably a Susan alongside.
Susan's holding the vixen. Hang on, I'll be right back.
Vixen.
Yeah, just Vixen just floating along.
Yeah, Vixen just floated in. Okay, so Carol will be brought into this by Dr. Saldana in a moment. So let's get to that as soon as we can. Leslie, you wander around down here. You find a refrigerated room that has about a half dozen bodies wrapped in plastic. It's not quite freezing, but almost. It's like 38 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that. So there you go. That's fun. You do find 2 exits from this basement. One leads up to the first floor, where you were reasonably sure is somewhere on the first floor of the charity hospital. You're not exactly sure where it will come out until you open the door, but you're pretty sure that it's somewhere in the charity hospital area. The other one is like down a hallway and then up, and you're reasonably sure this is not within the charity hospital building area. Do you open either of these doors? Because you can hide yourself, but when you open these doors, they will be obvious.
Yeah, that's why I'm not doing it right now. Are there any kind of records?
Down here?
Like what's happening? Yeah,
Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question, because we are dealing with mad scientists after all.
Yeah.
They thought I was mad.
Angry scientist.
Mad.
You do actually find a small office down here with extensive records. You don't have medicine as a skill, right?
That's why I'm going to.
Most of these records are meaningless to you. There's a lot of Latin terms. There's a lot of medical terms. You don't know what they mean.
That's why I'm going to take some of them.
Oh, you're going to throw into disarray someone's carefully arranged research?
Yes.
Have you no soul? Oh, you're a fairy. You don't have a soul. So, all right, fine.
Miley's going to do it.
So I was gonna say self-answering question there, Brandon.
Oh, quick question, Leslie. Where's your mic?
Right here.
Oh, okay. Because you sound a little muted, and I was wondering if it was like down or
Something's been
whatever.
going on with the headset. I'm not sure what it is. I one of the things, I'm losing one of the soft cushiony things over here.
Did I send that to you?
Yeah, I've already.
I was
No, I.
also, there was a moment that I also did have a muted sound from you guys. So
I saw
yeah.
that too. I think it was the internet thing. I don't think that was actually
Yeah,
your
probably.
problem.
I figured something on the computer and everything seemed to clear up. So
Okay. Oh no, I sent you the camera.
camera, yeah.
But you already had the
audio
headset.
sound. Yeah.
All right. No worries. No worries. If it
Um,
becomes a big deal, we'll deal with it
Basically,
later.
if you want to get to Kieran and Doxeladon, my intention is to collect as much of their carefully done notes as possible. I don't know if I can save this guy or not, but
Oh,
the
that's
best way
this
to
guy.
do it-
If you look, he's probably actually already dead.
Yeah, okay. Then
So,
my
I mean, you don't have
adventure's going-
medicine, so you can't be certain.
Yeah.
But
No, but
you think he's probably dead.
okay. Well, what I'm going to do is take as many of the notes as I can, mess things up as much as I can.
Please be more specific. Like when you say as
well-
much as you can, are you talking like a stack like this or what?
No, only what I can carry, but what may look. I wouldn't know what to take, so I'm going to take what I think I can shove into my jacket.
Okay, so
Or
maybe a stack
maybe-
like this.
Yeah, because I'm
Okay.
going to teleport myself to somewhere I know. But then I'm going to mess a few other things up, like maybe what I can't take with me, burn them.
Did you say
And then
burn them?
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to open both the doors, and then I'm teleporting out of there.
Okay.
Very.
Oh, here's a fairy thing. Because we don't really talk about the fairy thing much. I mean, it came up a lot a couple of games ago. I mean, like months ago, and a couple of story arcs ago. For you, teleport isn't like pop, pop, like that, like Lloyd's character might do it. For you, it's like you step sideways into the Shadowlands, which is where fairies live, and then you walk, and then you step sideways back into the mortal world. So that's kind of how that works for you. So for you, teleporting from here to somewhere else is you step into the Shadowlands, and then or the fairies don't call it that. Fairies call it the fair realm because it's so much nicer than the grim world, where mortals live. And then you walk for a while, and then you go back to the grim world, which is our world. All right, so that's fine.
I will take as much as I can carry, burn what I can't, open both doors, and shift.
Meanwhile, Doxeladon is about ready to leave when you hear someone down the hall say, "Oh, hello, we have a fire! We have a fire! Smoke! There's smoke!"
Flambeau!
Framboise. Yeah. So, you help the
What's
fire,
the-
or do you leave?
No, what's the nearest business to St. Benedict's that might have a telephone?
Let's say there's it's like kind of a crappy part of town because it's a charity hospital. Where else would it be?
Right. Yeah, I'm looking for like a store.
A garage. There's a garage right across the street.
So yeah, after he starts screaming that there's a fire, I'll take off my hat, shake my head, face palm, put my hat back on, walk down to the garage, hand the guy a bill, say, "I need to use your phone."
Oh, it's on the wall over there.
Thank you. Hand him the bill. Walk over to the phone. Call
Is he?
Carol.
Carol, bring, bring, wherever you happen to be. Let's say you're at your office. Why not? You got to do something, right?
Yeah. We can't move forward, I go back to work. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Desjardins.
Hello, Carol. This is Dr. Celadon.
Why am I not happy to hear from you?
Oh, it's about to get worse. Listen, you need to talk to your boss. Not your boss, but the boss who actually wanted you to investigate the whole vampire murders thing.
Who didn't
I
want
think-
to be connected?
I don't need to talk to her, certainly. This is between you and her. But if you want to find, or if you want to recover any of the evidence for the vampire murders, you probably ought to get down to St. Benedict's now. I think there's a mad fairy running through the place right at the moment.
Oh, goody.
And I'm pretty sure she's not going to leave a whole lot of evidence behind.
He, I should say. Say he.
But the police aren't going to touch this, so you're going to have to tell your boss that if she wants to see what's going on, she better get down here.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Oh, and be careful. The criminal element is probably going to be out in force on this one.
Yes, fairies and criminals. That's my day. Thank you very much.
No problem. I figured getting your boss involved would just make it that much more exciting.
I know, right? Okay.
And then I'm going to go get the car and get the car out of the parking lot of St. Benedict's, because I want to leave as little evidence as possible that I was here.
St. Benedict's actually has a very small parking lot. There, because the building was built before there were cars. So there's a building, and there's like a very narrow area between the front of the building and it's not quite a wall and not quite a fence. It's somewhere in between. It's like brickwork and then wrought iron and then more brickwork and then like a big wrought iron gate. But there's maybe enough room for 2 cars on this side and 2 cars on that side between the street and the actual building. So you're parked in one of those. So you start the car and take it out the gate.
Yep. Drive it someplace inconspicuous. Drive to the garage.
There's one across the street.
Yes. They've got a lift and an actual interior garage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Walk over
it's
to
a full-service garage.
Tell him that I want him to change the oil and rotate the tires. Oh. And can he have it back by 4 or whatever time it is, like a couple of hours from now?
So it's like you said you were coming here at like noon. So let's say it's like 1 now. He's like, 4 o'clock. Oh. This will cost extra.
I'll pay cash.
Okay, then. Oil change. We check the fluids and lubricate the chassis.
Excellent. Thank you.
Bonsoir. Because everyone smokes. All right. Anyway.
Oh, dear God, are their cigarettes off?
Yeah, at least Johnny smokes American cigarettes.
Oh. Back then, those weren't any better.
Actually, American cigarettes. You just don't know. Yeah. American cigarettes are the best. like French cigarettes, like actual French cigarettes, they're grown in an area where wine grapes are grown, which is great for growing wine, but sucks for growing tobacco. So American cigarettes are actually way better than French. They cost like 3 times as much.
I experimented around with various cigarettes from various places around the world, and in order, by far the worst cigarettes in the world are Russian. Those are absolutely, they're not cigarettes. You can get the same effect by smoking newspaper. French cigarettes are pretty bad. I've only tried Gitanes and Gauloises, and they were both pretty awful. I thought it was amusing that of all of them, my favorite were actually British cigarettes, like Silk Cuts. But all the tobacco in Silk Cuts comes from Virginia.
Yeah.
It's called Virginia tobacco.
But Virginia tobacco, they're probably getting pure Virginia tobacco, whereas most of
it's very high quality stuff. Yeah.
We get a lot of Recon.
Yeah.
In our cigarettes.
But yeah, the American cigarettes, Nat Sherman's, and actually the English Ovals were actually pretty good, which Philip Morris makes those.
Probably Russians are all pure Recon of Recon.
Or corn silk. Yeah.
Newspaper.
With corn silk and newspaper.
With a little bit of nicotine dripped in there just for good measure.
All right then. So where were we in this universe?
I'm standing there getting ready to watch the drama unfold.
Okay.
Walking to the assistant.
Jenna Petronovich's
Jenna Petronovich's office to ask her whether she wants the SIT to hit this, or shall we inform the
police? I told you that I figured the police weren't going to do anything about it.
And I know for a fact that she doesn't want to be involved, but so I'm giving her the choice. Do we?
Yeah, but if she wants the info, now's the time.
Yes. Yeah, go into her office. Go up to her office. I'm expecting to be let in.
Oh yeah, she has a secretary who lets you in, and you come in and you tell her what exactly?
I tell her that a situation has unfolded in the last few minutes. Apparently, the site where the incidences are occurring has been discovered. Do you want me to inform the police, or shall we send in our own people? Because this has just become an actual official matter.
What would you recommend?
I still don't know if magic's involved in this, but apparently I was told they're draining blood, so I'm thinking magic is involved in it. So that becomes our department, unfortunately.
Both men.
And based on everything, yes, unfortunately, I think it's our department jurisprudence.
I'm opening the door to St. Bernadette's first. And then the street door.
And also, I'm hearing mayhem is occurring in the said space, so we
Actually, cannot decide.
So time is relevant.
Yes.
Is this somewhere you could get to quickly?
Yes, it apparently is underneath the Saint
Benedict.
Benedict's hospital for the.
I don't know where that is.
I know
All right
exactly.
then. If you know where it is, and you can get there quickly, I think that you should investigate.
All right.
If magic is involved, then involve the police. If magic is not involved,
Then involve the police.
then don't involve the police and settle it yourself.
No problem. Sounds fair enough.
Okay.
All right. I am leaving now. Onwards. There.
All right then.
Going to need a vehicle.
You have one on call because you basically are just doing whatever the deputy
You're
director
doing
wants
it.
you to do.
Go
There's
get the,
literally somebody who's paid to do nothing but sit in the car or lean on it and smoke cigarettes and wait for you to call down and say, "I need my car."
Okay, cool. Call down. I need my car now.
Jawohl, I'll be out front. And Johan meets you out front, opens the door for you, lets you in the car, gets in the car, drives away.
Yes.
And to where are we going, Fräulein?
Give him the address.
He drives there.
German.
So, Lloyd, Doc Celadon is at the garage. They have your car in the lift. They're changing the oil. You're about waiting for like 10 minutes. No police are pulling up in front of St. Benedict's. What does pull up is a low black government mobile.
Government mobile.
Well, they all kind of look the same. I don't know what
Yeah,
it would
no,
be in France, but
That's why it's so funny.
it's the bland black sedan.
Okay.
It reminds me of my dad's tale about the when the jewelry store got robbed down the street from his work when he was in high school. And he and his other employees were sitting around naming the various enforcement agencies as they arrived by the colors of their unmarked vehicles. Well, oh, hey, the feds just showed up. Somebody must have gone across state lines.
Well, Johan stops the car, gets out, walks around, opens the door for Carol.
Okay, tell him to go go around the blocks so that he's only a block away from me and facing me so he can see me.
Jawohl, madame. Jawohl, Fräulein. His native language is German, so
I
stuff
was
like that.
asking, I was like, was he German?
Yeah, he's German. He's a Jawohl, Fräulein. And he gets in the car and he pulls away.
He's obviously Belgian.
I am Belgian. I'm Swiss. Anyway, he drives off. So there's Carol,
I am not
there's Doc
German,
Celadon.
I am Austrian. Don't you know the difference?
Has Leslie made an appearance yet, or is she?
Where's Leslie as we speak? Leslie has opened doors in various places.
If I've
What?
done as much as I've carried and started the fire in the files, door to St. Benedict's open first, door to the street open, I take a walk.
Okay. You open a door, and you are in an alleyway.
Mm-hmm.
The door you opened has no handle on the outside.
Chop it open somehow.
Okay. You look around. There's a... Oh, look, there's a piece of brick. You prop that in the doorway and prop the door open.
Remember, I opened the one to St. Benedict's first.
You said that, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
because
then
you got to
once-
provide proper airflow for the fire.
Yeah. Once I've done that, once the brick is in place, gone.
Gone where?
With what? Taking a step sideways, taking a walk. I don't know where Celadon is right now, so I have to come back to the mortal realm and then try to locate him. I've got a pile. I'm carrying a pile of files like this when I take a walk. 'Cause he's the one I can
Well,
think
you
of
got like a
for
good
everything.
10 minutes before Carol pulls up. So we'll say in that 10 minutes, you walk around the block a couple of times, and oh, look, there's Doc Celadon. He's standing there smoking some crappy Russian cigarettes at a
I'll
garage.
just
So,
I'll go sit down next to him, and the files aren't going to be made obvious to anybody but him.
so one moment, Doc Celadon's standing there, smoking a cigarette, waiting for something to happen. Then Carol pulls up. Carol gets out of the car, talks to the chauffeur. The chauffeur drives away, and then Doc Celadon looks to his left, and oh look, Leslie's standing next to you. Wasn't there a minute ago? Is there now?
I take it the fire is your doing?
I got something for you, and I'll show it to you later.
Oh, okay. Take a look at the
I'm in
files.
car. As soon as I'm in the car.
They are. Oh, Doc Celadon has somewhat of a medical background, among his other things. So, yeah, they are medical files, like blood panels, analysis of tissue, all kinds of things that I personally, as a real world person, don't actually have a familiarity with, but to the point where I can like describe them to you and say that they are technical and medical in nature.
Okay.
All I can say is, remember that lady named Frankenstein? I mean, who wrote the Frankenstein books, like Shelley or something like that?
Yes. Mhm.
Kind of looked like that kind of laboratory down there. Yeah.
Oh,
And there was a lot of dead bodies.
one other thing that I forgot to mention, but this is a good time. Leslie, while you're walking around down here, there is a kennel, and there are animals. There's a cow, there are a couple of coyotes or wolves, there's a small wild cat of some kind. You're not an expert at sort of thing. It was not a panther, but it's bigger than a normal cat. A lot of these animals have tubes connected to them that are, held in place by ace bandages and then are going into reservoirs of some kind. So there's that. That was also weird and unsettling in a way.
That's too obvious. I can't do anything about that one. But I think we were talking Island of Dr. Moreau.
You were, yes.
Yeah.
And you definitely need a new headset because I'm having a lot of trouble hearing you.
It's
If
getting
there was
worse.
any way I could
It is
dis-
getting harder, isn't it? Is it not just me, right? It's getting harder to hear?
If there's any way I could disrupt it, I will. But I don't
You could let them go. I mean, you did open the doors.
Yeah, I can let them go. Or-
Okay, so Doc Celadon, in the 10 minutes before Carol and Leslie show up, things seem... You don't see smoke, right? You heard someone say fire, but you never actually saw smoke. You walked across the street, you're hanging around, you don't see anything weird, and then like a cat the size of a Great Dane goes by. That's odd.
There's something you don't see every day.
Then Carol shows up, and then you look to your left, and Leslie is simply standing there and
Yeah.
wasn't there before.
You know that book that Johnny was talking about, Island of Dr. Moreau? Yeah, something like that.
Huh. Carol, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you know how to get a hold of anyone from the Holy Office of the Inquisition through your department?
Would I?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
There is a weird competition between the SIT and the Holy Office of the Inquisition,
Of course
because
there is.
because you kind of your authority is over the same things, but for different reasons. So it's kind of one of those jurisdictional things. But you absolutely know how to get in touch with them. Absolutely, yes.
Now, the only question I've got is whether you want to call them anonymously or actually through the officialdom of your office and tell them that human experimentation of a possibly ritual satanic nature is going on in the basement of St. Benedict's Home for Vagrants.
Ooh, and then it's no longer our departments. Fantastic.
Exactly.
I
Better tell him to hurry.
And no one can say that I was investigating it.
just
Dr. Celadon, you might tell her to hurry because there's a little bit of a fire in their office.
all right. Do you know where our phone is?
Yeah, there's one right over there.
He points at there's a phone on the wall right there.
Okay.
There's a great big bulletin board next to it with lots of stuff.
Do you want me to give her the
She
files
wants
or
to-
do you want to look at them?
Wait. I can't hear you, Leslie. Say what again?
I asked Dr. Celadon, I said, do you want me to give her the files or do you want to see them first?
I'll take your word for it that things are that serious. So yeah, let's just drop the Inquisition on them and see what happens.
Okay. Tell him to hurry. There's a little bit of fire in the office.
Which
I
we
don't
get,
think they can get the evidence out of there fast enough.
That's true.
which we get them there here faster? Maybe an official or unofficial?
Official would probably get them there faster, but I just don't want to implicate you because what's his name from the Milio has already warned you that if you stay involved in this, you're going to get offed.
Yeah, it's only. Yeah, I know, but you know what?
It's going to be a little busy for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway,
Well, if there's any government organization that's immune to organized crime, it'll probably be the Holy Office of the Inquisition anyway. So there's a distinct possibility that they'll just won't bother to tell anyone that you were the one who gave them the information.
I would say, why would they admit that I gave them a tip anyways?
All right, well, I'd give them a call if I were you.
Go inside if I'm not already inside the garage, and pull out a bill and my SIT badge. Like, sir, need to use your phone.
Yeah.
Discovered.
It's over there.
Thank you.
Do you need the quarter? Or whatever they use.
Centime.
Satine.
Centime.
Oh, I can cover it. Thank you, sir.
Okay. D'accord. Yeah, you call the Inquisition within about 20 minutes, which is actually pretty remarkable response time.
For them, yeah.
For anybody, really.
Honestly, yeah. Other than fire.
They would be government mobile sedans, except they're like 10 years prior. So like the previous generation of government mobile sedans, and they all have like an emblem of the Gallican Catholic Church painted on the doors. So they pull up, guys in black suits and bowler hats and very elaborate crucifixes around their necks, go in, and there's a guy with a really bad haircut leading them, and they go in across the street. And how long do you guys stay and watch? Because they are there for a while.
I hope they don't hurt all those innocent people in there. It's only the people in the basement that are a problem.
My curiosity.
I heard none of that, Leslie. What?
I said I hope they don't do anything bad to the people in the Saint, because they didn't do anything. It's whoever was in the basement.
Okay. What were you saying, Lloyd?
I'm gonna pull a page out of Leslie's playbook. I'm gonna make myself unnoticeable and just walk into the building.
They are detaining people in the common area, the places where they played checkers and read magazines and so forth. Everybody have found in the building. They've apparently routed them to that area and are just keeping an eye on them. Say, stay right here. We're doing important things elsewhere. You stay here. Elsewhere, upstairs, where the actual medical activity took place, that's empty by now. In the basement, you have a lot of smoke in the air, and you've got people who are looking through files, some of which are like half burned, and some of which aren't. And they're just kind of like sorting things into piles of what can be read versus what is just too burned to make much sense of, but we'll see what we can do with it later. And that's the stack over there.
Okay.
And that's kind of what's going on.
Okay. But they have found the experimentation chamber.
Yes, as have you, which you've not seen in person before. This is clearly where the various vampire murder victims had been killed. Very clearly. All the equipment's here. It's yeah.
Okay. And I'm sure my buddy is just having a great time.
Who? What? No.
the guy with the bad haircut.
Oh.
I forget his name.
Actually, it was Bernard Hessling.
There we go, Hessling. I'm sure he's having a great time.
Hang on, I'll show you Bernard Hessling because I think this is just a brilliant picture of him. There you go. Bernard Hessling, Office of the Holy Tribunal of the Inquisition.
You know, I used
Lloyd
to
gave
think
the most
the
action.
Gestapo agent in Indiana Jones was probably the most weaselly-looking human being in the world, but no, you have in that picture.
So, Inquisitor Hessling.
All right, well, as long as the good Inquisitor is doing his job, I just wanted to make sure he wasn't incompetent as well as fanatical. So I will sneak out of there before I get noticed.
Nobody notices you. All right. The Inquisition is there for like a good 2-3 hours. They're there for a while.
We just leave then, probably, at this point. We've done our fun.
Yeah, and I got my oil change.
Hey!
You do. That'll be 4 francs.
I'll pay the man. I'll pay the man and overtip him and tell him we were never here.
I'm sorry, who are you?
Let me get this out. I'll put it in the car. Let me get this out of your way.
Wait, you can't park there. Take that away.
Wave to my chauffeur. All right, I'm heading back to work. I will see you later. Thank you.
Johan opens the door for you.
Yes, you already have a lift.
And I will drive to the Cafe Azure American.
I'm hitching a ride with Dr. Celadon, of course.
All right.
All right.
All right. Tell if you guys are heading there, then tell my chauffeur to take me there, and then leave me there and head back to the office.
Jawohl, Fräulein. Do you want me to come back, or are you done for the day?
I am within walking distance in either case. So, just
He clicks his heels and nods his head and says, "Jawohl. I shall see you when you need me next." And he drives away. All right, then. You're back at the Café Azure American. Meanwhile, Giant Diamond has spent the entire afternoon and early evening sorting through the regulations concerning private clubs in the Empire, specifically Camarilla Samara. You think you got it figured out. There are very specific things that need to be marked on the signage outside. There are very specific things that people have to pay for when they buy a membership. You have to tell them they're paying for these things. And there are very specific fees you need to pay to operate a private club.
Okay. I work on getting all that done.
So you've got your whole staff working on this.
Yeah. If it takes a few days,
Carol, no, it'll take like a day and a half. You'll have to figure it all out.
Okay.
So Carol and Doc Saladon and Leslie at various times walk in and see essentially a huge room with like a dozen people all working on paperwork.
Planning on putting on a variety show.
Johnny, we found your Frankenstein lab.
Oh, splendid. Now all I have to do is make sure that everybody eats this week.
So if you've got a minute, we can catch you up on the latest news.
Oh, as long as it doesn't put my life in any more danger, please go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'll talk to you. Oh, well, let's talk about something else then.
Hey, Leslie, I'm going to send you a headset. Because this is just too. This is terrible.
Yeah, and that just started tonight too.
Yeah, you used to be okay. I think your headset's dying.
Yeah, probably.
And then, yeah.
Seems to me my headset microphone was going a little flaky last week.
Yeah, you sound fine now, though.
Yeah. Well, no. The only reason I say it is that these two headsets were purchased as a pair from Amazon.
Tricky.
Don't know what that means or if it's complete coincidence, but
Hey, Leslie, are you still at 7-Eleven Sedgefield? What?
Yes.
yes.
7-Eleven Sedgefield, correct? Can anyone
says
hear
yes.
her?
Yes.
She says yes.
Okay,
I'm
thank you.
nodding yes.
Oh, okay. I was looking at my screen, not you. All right.
Well, I could see where you were being confused then. You two look so much
There you go.
alike.
Okay, it should arrive by the 11th. What is today? 9, 10, 11? Thursday. It should come Thursday. Knock on wood. All right, so back to the game. Sorry. Go ahead.
So I will explain to Johnny what's been going on. So yeah, we found that the laboratory of Dr. Moreau was actually under St. Benedict's.
Oh,
Leslie and I found it.
interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, didn't know quite what to do because I called Carol, and apparently Carol's boss doesn't want to get involved. So I got the number for the Office of the Holy Inquisition and dropped them down on St. Benedict's.
You got them.
Taking credit for your work, Carol. What's the deal?
Credit is due. You're the one who's going to get blamed for it. So yes, Carol got the Office of the Holy Inquisition.
Yeah, you don't want to take blame for this. They've already beaten you enough.
As long as nobody blames me for any of this.
Well, no, let's see. Technically, it's Leslie's fault, but nobody's going to blame him for that because nobody knows he's done it. If they'd have to be really on the ball to blame me because they'd have to have seen me there.
And it'd have to be absolutely insane to try to pin this on me because, yeah, I don't think.
And so all of you head here to me.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that. Because right then. I'm sorry. I find this really funny because he's like, you'd have to be insane. Just well, on cue, Dr. Freneau comes in, storms in is the proper phrase. Storms in, looks at Carol, and hang on, I forgot to do this because this is physical. Hang on. Here we go. Comes in, looks around, sees Carol. Points at Carol like this. Says, "You!"
Me.
Like that.
I'll look at Carol surprised. Like, oh my God, what have you done?
And
Johnny pipes up. Please, madame, calm down for your own good. This is a private establishment.
stomps forward to Carol. Says, "Do you have any idea what you've done? Do you have any idea what you've done?"
My job?
You've set back medical science by decades! Decades!
Is that what tried to rip my throat out the other night?
Well, you have to admit, scientifically and biologically speaking, it was quite impressive.
Of course it was!
Granted.
We had to gun it down like a dog, but yes, it was biologically quite impressive.
Well, it was
Well,
a
a
dog.
coyote, actually. But why? Why did you have to do this? We weren't hurting you.
Or not.
What?
I beg to differ. Your coyote man
Got out.
hurt us.
only because you were interfering in the work.
That's not a good excuse.
Do I
It
need
most certainly is. If you had minded your own business, none of this would have happened.
We had minded our own business. Your experimentation would have started a turf war between two of the largest crime
No,
organizations.
you caused that. You caused that.
Oh no!
No.
Oh no! They
No,
were
no, no, no.
already on their way to doing this. I merely was warned to back off by each of them because they were already about to.
No, your meddling is what disrupted
No.
all of this.
May I? Your driver's inability to avoid an accident is what actually caused all of this.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a fall guy, there's your boy.
Your drivers who kept using the crime organization's place.
Mask doing.
Nothing so far.
Okay.
Yeah, she hasn't threatened violence.
Your driver's inability to stop using the crime organization's facilities would have eventually caused them to stomp on you too.
I had to use the resources available.
So I didn't bring them in. I just brought them in potentially a few moments earlier than they would have been in.
Do you have any idea what's at stake here?
A bunch of people's lives that you don't seem to believe have much value.
No, people's lives who do have value. By analyzing the blood and fractionating the blood, I was this close to a cure for hemophilia. Do you understand the importance of that?
Oh yes, it's highly important for about 4 people in the world.
And you know whose people are, yes?
Nothing for me to worry about. They are their own curse.
I don't know why you've done this. You've ruined everything.
Because even the homeless are people.
No one... Their lives were sacrificed for the greater good.
Even the
Sacrificed.
homeless are
You just
people.
used the word. They were lives, and you sacrificed them.
Yes, of course they were.
So the lives of many are less than the few that you're helping.
You just don't understand. You don't understand. You're just like the rest of them. They thought I was mad too.
What did the Emperor think?
Well, if I'd completed my research and I'd been able to cure the imperial family of hemophilia, then the Emperor would have thought it was spectacular, wouldn't he? But no, you've ruined everything.
So you are working without imperial dispensation.
Well, have you ever tried working with the Imperial Medical Academy? If you didn't go to medical school in France, if you were not a man, you won't be admitted. That is the truth of it. And only by a stupendous research success, such as I was this close to making, would one be admitted into the academy. But no, you ruined it. You ruined everything.
You couldn't get blood without killing people. There are people.
I needed gallons and gallons and gallons of blood.
You had all these people. You had tons and tons of people coming in through your facilities. A pint here, a pint there. It adds up.
It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough.
No, you were greedy. You were in a hurry.
I don't see the point of arguing with the crazy person, so
Yeah.
I'll get up and go across to the bar.
I
And
was hoping somebody who had some abilities beyond mine was being just helping me, doing something while I was distracting the crazy lady. Yes.
oh yeah, I'm going to curse her. So I'll say it as subtly as possible.
Oh, why? Why would you hurt this poor lady? She's a doctor who wants to help.
Because she
She
didn't have, She didn't have enough brains to find a straw man for her experiments.
And
That was her downfall.
just because I feel that there should be a certain amount of like cosmic balance in the world, I'll go ahead and have her die of an aneurysm.
Oh, you're so mean. Why are you being so mean to Dr. Fanu? She just wanted to help people.
I
Sorry.
kill
Just
it.
wanted to help.
It has to happen.
No, she just wanted to make herself powerful by providing the imperial family with something they desired.
By killing lots of people.
Yeah,
Okay,
killing-
Doc Celadon is from the bar is gonna hoodoo her with a time-delayed brain aneurysm. Is that the deal?
Yes, that is correct.
Roll some dice.
Okay.
No, I roll against you. I tell you what, you gotta get 10. I know that's just
10?
sad.
Okay,
Yes,
that's
I
like
rolled
all one
shit.
different-
I rolled crap.
If I don't roll any dice, I get a 10.
You gotta roll, buddy.
So a 13 minimum.
I rolled really crappy, 16.
Okay, well, because the thing is, if somebody later tries to undo that before it kicks in,
Oh,
that's
okay.
what they'd roll against. So it matters. It matters. So you wah, and you boonk something in her head, which is gonna explode in how long?
An hour.
An hour from now. So you boonk, and she like, and then continues with whatever rant she's currently in the middle of, because
In
she's
other words, she's building herself up for this one.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so
she's extremely upset. I don't know if I've conveyed that,
Yes.
She's a nut job.
and she blames you, all
And I
of
keep
you.
telling her, Mademoiselle, please calm down. You will do yourself an injury.
At around that
I'll walk
point,
back to the table, look at my pocket watch, look at Johnny, and say, it's probably best she left soon. And then walk.
at around that time, several large barrel-chested gentlemen in black suits and bowler hats, and followed by a fellow in a terrible haircut, comes in, looks around, sees Dr. Fanu, and the guy in the terrible haircut says, Dr. Fanu! Like that. And she looks at him.
Sorry, the mental image of him saying that was just hysterical.
No one
It was
expects this
kinda
kind of
meant to be.
position.
Yeah.
Let's see, does she run away? Does she surrender? She flees! I rolled double sixes. She's like, no! And she runs toward the kitchens. And the guys wearing the big crucifixes run after her. They basically just run through the club.
Wait, stop. You'll do yourself an injury.
Wait, stop, come back.
Yeah, that's Johnny. Wait, stop.
Right.
You'll do yourself. Calmly comment to the fellow.
Well, they basically
Really
just like run past, and unless you follow, you don't really know what happens after that.
I'm pretty sure I know what happens.
Yeah, no, I think we could pick this one up from the papers.
You can guess it.
Dies of an aneurysm while in custody.
Or while fleeing.
No, they catch her before the aneurysm kicks in. All right, so you don't do anything about the Inquisition chasing her, because they chased her here. I mean, you picked up on that, right? They chased her here. She had slipped the noose, so to speak, long enough to confront you, and then they found her again, and they chased her out again. And she went back out the back door, and they chased her. They dogpiled her and arrested her. Well, whatever it's called for the Inquisition arrest? I don't know. We'll just call it arrest. So, took her into custody. And while she's in custody, she has a brain aneurysm and dies.
You saved
Yeah.
her from torture.
This is what you expect, right?
Yes, that's what I'm hoping for. Yeah.
You saved her from torture.
And the Inquisition is pretty much full on in support of torture for getting answers. So, I mean, Doc Celadon had things gone slightly different. Things could have gone really, really bad for him if they had thought he might actually be guilty of the things that they thought they were investigating. As it was, he's simply a cheap huckster of potions and amulets, so
That's true.
not worth the effort. All right, everybody, take a deep breath. Whew. that's the end of that. Everything's all solved. Dr. Fanu is behind it all. Everything's fine. Everything's cool. A couple of days go by, and in the newspaper you find that a new victim of the vampire murders had been found in an alleyway. Killed the exact same way. But just dumped in an alley, like the person who did it didn't care if anybody found a body.
Remember
Bum,
that some
bum,
of the gangsters
bum.
did copycat. Some of the gangsters did copycat in order to frame the other gangsters. So
Yeah, it's
Could be.
fairly likely that this is something similar. Unless this was Dominique and her friend's excuse for actually going around killing things. But, let's give him the benefit of the doubt this time.
Let's give him. Yeah, really. Oh, he's top of us. Let's go put it back on us. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I think everything just needs to calm down for a bit. And then we'll all be okay.
All right. Well, we're coming up on 10:24. That seems like a pretty good place to stop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good to me. I was actually going to suggest that we stop because I've got to go to bed.
Well, there you go then. Okay, so just so we're clear, Dr. Fanu has been arrested, and then died. St. Benedict's, it's going to be shut down for a while and possibly forever.
Yeah, we might see if how Olivia DeBarth feels about reopening it once things calm down a little bit, because they do serve a really good purpose, and they should be supported.
Maybe. The Café Américain, after a couple of days of being shut down, reopens as a private club, which requires purchase of a membership. And there are rules for that, but you're following them. And other than that, things seem to be on the same basic page they were before. So there's that.
And as long as nobody's trying to kill me, I'll actually go ahead and get a business license for private investigation.
If you actually go to the Department of Licensing and fill out the paperwork, yeah, it's not actually that hard to do.
Okay.
So,
I just didn't want to do it while a sniper rifle was pointed at me.
And it probably takes about a month. Yeah.
I do have a question though.
What's
In
that?
order for us to play at a private club, do we need a different license?
No, you don't.
Okay.
That's all on Donald. It's not on you.
No, it's like I'm throwing a party in my own home. More or less.
But there is a new vampire murder victim, which we'll pick up on that next week, I guess. All right, then. Wait. Nope, wrong one. You hear it?
We're all up.
This has been Rough Magic, starring Donald Von Griffin, Garen Torres, Leslie Denneberger, Lynn Montgomery, and me, the GM, Brandon Blackmore. Thanks for coming. Tip your waitresses. Try not to make deals with people who drain people's blood to solve hemophilia, because
You should probably.
Oh yeah, don't piss off the crowd.
it's not gonna, it just won't work out. It just won't. Have a good night, everybody.
See you, everybody.
Good night.
See you next week.